Hey, Internet. Welcome to Weekly-ish D&D with Friends. Here again. Of course, true to form, something fucked up with our recording in our second episode, so you'll never ever see it. Consider it the lost episode of Dragonlance, Shadow of the Dragon Queen. But we're here with episode 3, and as you guys probably remember from last week, or 2 weeks ago, no, last week, there we go.
Yeah.
Brain's working. Brain check. We had left off after what was supposed to be kind of a battle reenactment had turned into a full-on battle between some of the forces of the mercenaries that had camped out around town. They were supposed to be under the care of one Cudgel Ironsmile as their captain. However, some sort of nefarious scheme seemed to be afoot, and several of these mercenaries betrayed Cudgel and attacked the townsfolk openly. And with your help, they were able to drive off these mercenaries, what ones were attacking. And you even managed to capture the leader of these rebels, and or mutineers, I suppose would be a better word. And yeah, you had managed to bring this half ogre commander back to town with you, and interrogate him. And he had told you that he had been paid to act essentially as a threat to the town of Vogler, where you had come to the funeral of your friend Eastbin. Now, after the battle of High Hill, you were all sort of in a bit of a state of shock, and everyone reconvened at the Brass Crab, the inn where you'd all been staying. And you were, that night, you had kind of settled down with Becklin, the Knight of Salamnia, Cudgel, the leader of the remaining mercenaries who were still loyal to her, and Mayor Raven, Uth Vogler, and had a bit of a discussion. Now, what you had gotten from this discussion was that Becklin was very concerned, as she'd heard rumors of strange armies in the east, and she's trying not to panic anyone, but she definitely feels like she expects the worst. Cudgel felt terrible and responsible for everything that happened at High Hill. She told you that the village had the complete support of the rest of the Ironclad Regiment. There's the mercenary troop name I was looking for. She definitely wants things to remain peaceful, but she thinks that it's more likely to remain peaceful with the backing of her mercenary spears. And the mayors will essentially do anything to keep her townspeople safe, but she does not want to act brashly and start a war. So you guys had kind of had a few hours with these people, these major players in this event, and Cudgel had at one point left to go scout her own mercenary camp, and she was able to determine that through her other lieutenant Jayev that there was in fact a large force of red and black bedazzled, I suppose, army figures throughout the woods a few miles away from her camp. And for the time being, all of you kind of decide that there's nothing more you can do for the night, and that it would be best to get a good rest. So you guys are all able to gain a long rest if you have not done so already. And I believe you guys all leveled up to level 3 at the end of last session. Excellent. No, yeah, Dave, you had asked me something, and I totally blanked on doing it this week, and I don't remember what it was. Do you remember what it
Oh,
was?
that's right. I think maybe the asking about like origins or like what city or would it come from, but yeah, it's not pressing.
Okay.
She also offered to scout at night, so she probably would turn in like right after the meeting, and then get up at some point to fly around, essentially just serving watch for the city.
Okay. Um, Yeah, the nighttime does seem fairly uneventful. You don't see any particular commotion. You are able to fly a few miles away from the village, kind of keeping low to the treetops, and you do briefly see the campfires off on the distance of what looks like kind of a large force. This is much more in continuity with what you had seen before of a size of a like the hearing, like when you heard the noise of this, like what sounded like a large force moving through the trees. This more fits with that than the small band of a few hundred mercenaries that you had seen close to town. So your suspicions are confirmed, and you can confirm Cudgel's story as well, that there is a large force, like perhaps thousands and thousands of these people camped out throughout these woods. They're sort of dispersed is the one big thing that you notice. They're not necessarily all in one spot, but like you'll see like a few small camps here, a few small camps there, and then maybe like a large clearing with a larger fire in it. And then like you go for, maybe another half mile and you don't see anything, and then suddenly there's another regiment of these things. You do see humans walking among them, but mostly what you see is these figures that just seem to be cloaked and hooded. You can only assume that these are these draconian entities that you had encountered briefly before. Yeah, and without sacrificing any levels of exhaustion, in order to make it back, it's a brief scout, so you don't really know, you can't really like investigate deeply into any of these areas without risking being seen. But in the space of just a couple hours, you can kind of get a general layout of all the area to the north and the west. It seems like there are troops enclosing rapidly on the town of Vogler.
She'll let the town guard know when she comes back.
Okay.
I don't know if like the mayor or anybody is awake. We'll let them know, but otherwise she'll go back to sleep and tell them in the morning.
Yeah. At this point, everybody is sort of dispersed from the Brass Crab. When you get back, even the bartender is sort of just leaning in a corner, kind of half nodding off. She sort of sits up when she sees that it's you, and she's just like, oh, and gives you a quick wave, and then sort of goes back to napping. And you are all, like I said, able to get a long rest, and in the morning, you are all awoken by loud pounding up and down the hallway on your doors. The voice of Darrett Highwater, the squire of the Knight Becklin, is calling out to you saying, "Oi, sorry to wake you folks, but we got a bit of an emergency here. Becklin and the mayor have requested your presence at the river gate up north. If you would, please let me. I'll get your breakfast and things ready, but you please get your stuff together. We've got to go." Sorry, I didn't catch that.
He's like, "Got any more of those fish pies?"
He's like, I'll stop at the fish bowl on the way, but I need you to go as quickly as you can. I'll meet you there with the pies.
Okay, it's a race. Yeah, I take off.
Alright. So, racing through town, you notice that the entire town, although it's still kind of decorated for this festival, there is the entire air of merriment has like gone out of the village. Like, people see you running up the street and they quickly dodge into their house and look out and like give you kind of a suspicious look, like, oh shit, what's going on? This is a totally different feel to this town. There's a tension almost palpable in the air that kind of has come with this bad news and this strange battle that has occurred. When you meet Mayor Raven at the river gate, you see that beneath the carvings of the leaping fish that are etched into this open gate, a human in black and red scale mail sits astride an armored warhorse. She holds out a rolled parchment and calls out, "Who among you speaks for this village?" Raven, the mayor, sort of looks at all of you for a moment and puffs her
Hail,
chest
Queen of the
out.
Kingfishers, Mayor Raven.
The soldier looks down at Raven, and she steps forward. She simply hands the letter to the mayor and takes 2 steps back. The mayor walks back to you and opens the letter. Becklin kind of approaching you, but still on guard, with her sword drawn, fully in armor, but not wearing her helmet. And you read the letter. It says, "People of Vogler, by the orders of Balafion, voice of Takesis, you will quarter the soldiers of the invincible Red Dragon Army this night. Refuse and die. This is the Dragon Queen's will." So Nick or Nick, either of your characters, are they proficient in religion?
I don't
Yes.
think so.
Okay.
Hang on.
So, Balcom,
No.
you would know immediately, just from having a religious background, that Takesis is one of the gods of Kryn. And you recognize the spiral symbol on the messenger's armor. It is a symbol of Takesis, who is known as the greatest of the evil gods, or the Dragon Queen. The messenger sort of sits up a little straighter, seeing that as the mayor rolls up the letter, and she says, "Do you understand?" And she just sits there, completely stark-faced, staring at you, waiting for an answer. The mayor sort of looks at the 4 of you, and she's like, "What in the fuck should I tell him?"
We got the plague.
Tell him you need to confer with your council. By time.
She kind of nods. She looks. I'm gonna have you 2 roll me a persuasion check, and whoever has the highest one, she's gonna go with that. Because I have absolutely no idea what she would do. So.
And we would throw in with that Malcolm on this.
Well, I'm not very persuasive.
I got 17.
I got a 4.
Okay, so she looks at Balcom and she's like, well, "Let's give it a shot." She turns around and she says, "Please, oh great voice of the Dragon Queen, we do not wish to sicken your army. We've got a terrible plague here in town at the moment."
I take one of the bags of blood I got from yesterday that I was going to use to fake my death with, and just like turn it with the side of my head and pretend like I'm throwing up blood.
Alright, make me a performance check.
Yeah.
Love it.
18.
Hmm.
Nice.
Oh, convincing. I'm like a little concerned.
Oh, it's real bad in here. You definitely don't want to get in here.
Eloquence starts turning more green than blue.
The Dragon Army soldier backs her horse up a few steps, but then kind of firms her resolve, and she says, "If there is truly a plague on your village, then it'd be best for our soldiers to burn it now. Thank you for the information." And she turns the horse and begins to trot off.
I think I'm feeling better.
And she sort of looks over her shoulder, slows up for a moment,
I start throwing up blood again.
and she sort of shudders and begins to ride off. She as she's leaving, she raises up her hand, and you see her flash some sort of a symbol quickly, and a few javelins slap into the ground just feet ahead of you. You look up from the trajectory from which they came, and you see atop a nearby cliff, there are 4 soldiers dressed in this red and black, and they are just launching javelins. They can't seem to quite get close enough to you, but you do think that as soon as anyone were to leave the gate, these soldiers would be ready to just drop them with javelins.
Ooh, free javelins.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Mayor Raven suggests you all return to the Brass Crab to discuss what comes next. Derek comes rushing up. I got your pies! What did I miss?
Oh, nothing. Blah!
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! What's wrong with him?
I'm just fucking with you. Thanks for the pie.
Eloquin takes a pie and says, "Thank you." She's just hungry. She eats fish when she needs to.
Archivir waits till a few others have taken theirs and takes one, just sort of bows a bit and has to kind of like lean over to take pieces to but pass under his mask.
Nice.
Rue's on her second one by the time.
Yeah.
They light it up.
It's a time-consuming process for me.
Eloquin turns to Balquin and asks her if she had, as a cleric, do you have the ability to bless water and make it holy?
I can try.
Eloquin hands her extra water bag that she got from the coming across the lizard men.
Falcon casts Thaumaturgy, and sparks fly into the water, and the color of the water changes a little deeper blue. Like, here you go.
I nod my thanks and say thank you.
Nice. You may now mark that water skin down as, water, but slightly more blue, I guess.
Oh, so it's not holy?
Oh, no, not at all. No, not even a little bit.
No,
I think there's
just
actually a
thaumaturgy.
specific, create holy water type spell in D&D too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's in 5th edition.
I don't
right.
have it.
But
Is it possible for me to, if I went to a temple priest and asked them to bless water, would they be able to make it holy, or?
Not so much,
Yeah, but
because
not here.
there is not any temples to be found. Temples are pretty rare in this land. If you find them, they're pretty well abandoned usually. Like, the fact that you actually are hanging out with a cleric is pretty exceptional.
Fair enough.
I'm exceptional.
Don't you forget it.
So assuming that you guys do decide to return to the Brass Crab,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cudgel and Becklin are there, and you see that they seem to be preparing. Becklin is now wearing her full gear, her helmet. She has her sword and shield with her, or her great sword. I think she had a great sword. Sorry. And Cudgel is lacing up boots and putting on all of her armor as well. And they tell you that their plan is to ride out, gather the mercenaries, and meet the oncoming dragon army force head on, to make time for the town to be better prepared to defend itself. Cudgel tells you that she plans on making tactical retreats back towards the town to hold them off as long as possible. And Becklin urges the mayor greatly to evacuate the town. The mayor, however, is not super sold on this idea. She knows that a lot of these people have lived here their whole lives, and they are not necessarily of a mind to just abandon the town, but she definitely fears for their safety. She is super concerned that maybe you guys just started a war. And she sort of is frustrated and kind of looking to you for any ideas you may have as far as how to handle this situation. The idea
Eloquent
that
just shakes her head and says, "Hey, I gave you my idea."
Rue asks if they have any information about like what they're up against, what this dragon army is.
So Becklin tells you that she has heard all kinds of stories from travelers about war in the east and the north, and she greatly fears that this Red Dragon army is part of a greater force that exists throughout Kryn and throughout Ansalon. Tells you she's lived in Vogler for decades, and kind of flat out says like its people are not soldiers. They need like weeks of training and 100 more professional soldiers to stand a chance in any conflict. She thinks that the best plan is to get everyone ready to evacuate at a moment's notice in case any other plans fail, and she will attempt to talk some sense into the commanders of this dragon army and see if she can convince them that Vogler is not, in fact, a spot that needs to be burned to the ground. She does tell you that if the evacuees can all get to the wharf, they can take whatever boats that are available in town up the river to safety in the city of Kalaman.
So yeah, like who are these dragon? Like, what's this dragon army's deal?
She says that
Is it
she doesn't really know specifics about the war, other than that the rumors that she's heard is that there are several warlords that have been laying waste to small villages and towns. But it seems like there's always a theme to it. It's always like well-dressed, well-armored men coming in, matching gear. Like, these are like high-end armies. These are not like some schmuck that got a hold of like some gold and outfitted a few hundred men. This is like intensely trained for years type of army. And that there seems to be something larger than just local kingdoms at stake here. It seems to be something bigger than that. But what that could be, she has no idea, as news is not super forthcoming in Kryn.
Pretty sure they follow an evil god. He's the one that came. They had markings of one.
Yeah, and as you described the markings, Rue, you would instantly recognize those markings as stuff that you had seen kind of when you were scouting around. Like, you saw those markings on tents, you saw it on... It's like heavy branding, you know what I mean? This is like the fucking Walmart of armies. Like, they want you to see that big smiley face.
Did Elquin see those markings on the soldiers attacking the caravan?
Thinking back, you absolutely did.
Elquin mentions this fact as well.
Yeah, so now it's all kind of coming together. This is definitely like a large organized force, you guys can tell.
Elquin suggests to the mayor that she has the ability to send out a sense within a mile if there are any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fays, or fiends, or undead present within the army, if it comes to a point where that would be helpful.
The mayor sort of looks at you with wide eyes, and she's like, You can just tell if there's demons about, eh? Well,
We give a look at Rue.
Oh, Eastman kept such strange friends. I'm glad you're here, though. I think... Perhaps you're right, Becklin. Perhaps we should evacuate the town. I think we need to gather everyone in the village into the circle, and I'll explain the plan. We'll have to figure out how many ships we have and how many villagers that'll carry.
I turn to the what? I'm sorry. What's the? Is it Becklin that's gonna go talk to the army and try to convince them not to burn the town?
Yeah, Becklin and Cudgel.
I offer to. I turn to Becklin and I offer to go with them to help try to convince him for what little help I may or may not be.
She
Drew's like, if it comes down to it, I'll just burn down the forest.
Becklin kind of looks at you and smirks a little bit, but then she's like, I don't doubt you would, dear. I can't really be asking others to come with us. It might get very ugly very quickly. I do have a favor to ask of you, though. Young Darrett, I know he's out and about doing his errands right now, but he's been a good lad to have around, and quite frankly, I'm worried I won't see him again. If you could, please, give him this letter when you see him next, and, tell him there's a box under me bed up in Thornwall Keep. It belongs to him now. He's earned it.
Who is she handing the letter to?
To you, because you had offered to go with her.
I nod bravely and accept the letter and promise to do so.
She tells you Darrett should be back in maybe an hour or two. He's just kind of trying to tidy up some loose ends about town for her, make sure that certain people are being taken care of, elderly, things like that.
What was the name of the keep again?
Thornwall Keep.
Thank you.
So Mayor Raven asks you if you would be so kind as to go about town and gather up the people and tell them that there is a meeting, an important meeting in the village circle, and she needs everyone to attend.
Drew immediately jumps into the air and starts flying around yelling, "What's that?"
Excellent. So,
I asked the mayor, as I agree to do so, if there's like an apothecary or an herbalist around that I could go see and speak with.
She tells you that if there is any, they would be located in the market. She's not sure who is actually out working today, or if everyone's pretty much staying home. It sort of seems like everybody's penned up for the night, but she says there's always the possibility that there's a merchant that's being stubborn, as they often are.
I nod my thanks.
So you'll have in that hour, you definitely got time to get to the market. But is everyone else going to assist in this as well, of running around town and knocking on doors?
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, I'm using thaumaturgy. Be like, village meeting in the circle square. Bring snacks.
Hey, Zach, basically what I'm trying to do is grab what I need for the spell focuses for some of my spells.
Okay.
Like I need a legume seed and some mistletoe and a shamrock flower.
Okay. So nothing that's particularly rare, just common spell ingredients, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same with the holy water for that matter. If I can't find holy water, I can use powdered silver and iron.
The powdered silver and iron they wouldn't have, but as far as like the general herbs, like those would be pretty household type things that people would just kind of keep around for various reasons.
Can I assume that I'm able to find somebody able to give me them or trade me them?
Yeah, you can probably find somebody in the market that has something along those lines, or something that you think will work for it anyway.
Cool.
Just a, it's not a fancy stand, but it's definitely got just common everyday herbs there, things like that.
Yeah,
Probably
the
some
main
sort of a
things I
cook
need
shop.
are mistletoe, a shamrock leaf, and a legume seed,
Yeah, so
or several legume seeds, because I think several of each of them, because they get consumed.
yeah, you'd probably be able to pick them up for like maybe 5 silver.
Would I be able to trade one of those long swords for them?
Yeah. You would probably get. I'm not sure of the value of a long sword off the top of my head, but
It is 15 gold,
okay,
actually.
so they'd probably offer you only like 7 gold for it, because again, this is not necessarily so much a weapons or arms dealing town or anything like that. They're gonna
Fair
kind of
enough.
lowball you because there's not really a market for it.
Yeah, they need a profit margin too.
Yeah,
so-
exactly. It's like Pawn Stars. Best I can
Wholesale.
do is 7 gold pieces.
That's pretty decent, actually.
Oh, an expert.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, this is how you can tell that it was this was not an original longsword. This was a 3rd edition longsword.
Is it just a long short sword?
Yeah.
It's different than a long sword.
So yeah, as you are the next hour or so you spend gathering people up. So it's now, mid-morning, we'll say. It's still before noon. But the colorful decorations still are all over the village and the festival stage, but the people collected in the village now are kind of all muttering, they're worried. And the mayor takes the stage, and she doesn't mince any words. She just says, "A dangerous army is headed for Vogler. The Ironclad Regiment will do what it can to defend Vogler, but we must be ready to flee." And everyone kind of just stands there for a minute in silence, and then all of a sudden the crowd erupts into this wave of shouting and anger and fear. And "Where will we go? What about my house?" Somewhere's out of the back, Lord Baracus is like, "And what about all my things?"
Zach, did the forget her name already, but did the paladin already go out to?
Yeah, it can be assumed that in that hour at some point, her and Cudgel both left for the mercenary camp to kind of make their way there.
Okay, because Rue wants to follow them.
Okay.
I mean, if she sees them leave the gate, she'll follow behind.
All right. So as I'll come back to you in just a second. And so the current situation then is just the 3 of you in the town center. With right now the crowd is sort of rising in angst, and it seems like you're kind of starting to wonder if maybe this wouldn't get out of control if somebody doesn't put shut it down somehow.
I'll cast Thaumaturgy again and make my voice boom 3 times as loud. People, homes can be rebuilt. Lives can't be brought back. If a big army comes here, we don't stand a chance. We can find safe haven in Kalari. I forgot the name of the city.
Yeah, Kalaman.
Kalaman.
Okay.
They're just passing through. All we have to do is wait out a few days and we can come back.
Amidst the chorus of boos and "Get off the stage!" and Derek comes running up suddenly. And he's like, No. Our weekender friend is right. We must not tarry for our belongings. We must make quick haste. Everyone, quickly, get what you can, pack it up, be ready to go. Get your animals, get your food, get things that will help you survive the journey. We must do as he says. And, Balcom, I'm going to need a persuasion check, but you get advantage as Dara is assisting you. DC on it's going to be 14.
23.
Okay, so, it takes a few
Rousing performance.
Yeah, it takes a few more minutes, but you are able to calm the rowdy group of townsfolk and get them to understand this is not like, you're not fucking around. This is life or death.
Hey, Zach, has Becklin already left at this point?
So let's cut back to that because Rue said she wanted to follow her.
Yep.
Okay, so as you're following her as she's leaving town with Cudgel and a few of her mercenaries that happen to be in town with her, their small group encounters a problem at the river gate when javelins begin flying down at them, and you hear Becklin exclaim, "Can't guarantee that we'll all make it past those javelins, and I don't know how many they have. Seems like they'd be well supplied up there."
Hey Zach, can I see if I notice Rue heading out the gate?
Yeah, absolutely. Just make me
Want to roll a perception check? Or...
Yeah, just make me a perception check. DC's only like 10 to see if Rue's there or not.
Oh, that's a nat 20.
Okay. So yeah, you definitely notice Rue's absence and probably see her kind of going off in a direction at a certain point.
I'm going to follow from like basically the distance that I'm at. And I'd be like, where's this kid going?
Okay.
As this is going on, I make my way to Derek to do what Becklin had asked me to do.
Okay. So yeah, just after the crowd is settled, you finally make your way to Derek. You give him the letter, and he opens it, and you can see the boy is like fighting back tears. Like he doesn't want to be seen crying because he's, you know, trying to be like a tough knight. But
I tell him about the box under the bed at Thornwall Keep too.
This is...
And I try to awkwardly comfort him.
He sort of folds the letter up quickly and briefly wipes his eyes and tucks the letter into a pocket. He says, "I must be off to Thornwall immediately. I must be there for Becklin. It is my duty as her squire. But she has asked that I stay here to protect the people of Vogler, to make sure that they make their escape safely. I have to go to Thornwall, quickly."
Do you want me to accompany you?
Why, yes, that would be excellent. Thank you. And the two of you rush off towards Thornwall, which again, keep in mind, is fairly close to the river gate to the north. At this point, we're going to cut back to the river gate. So, Rue, you're now watching Becklin and Cudgel try and figure out how to deal with these soldiers on top of the cliff. These soldiers are perpetually taking pot shots at these guys as they approach the gate. They can't get within about 10 feet of the gate, and of course there's a fairly large wall around town, so the only way out of town through this direction is through this gate. So Becklin and Cudgel are at a serious disadvantage here. When you hear Becklin say something about the gnome flinger, and you remember when you first visited Thornwall, seeing the large catapult-like device on the roof, and you hear her mentioning Fan, the gnomish inventor, and you can only kind of guess as to what her plan is, but you're thinking that her plan would be to find someone to launch up to the cliffs via the gnome flinger.
As quick question, Jack. As Derek and I are heading towards the manor, can I see what's going on at the gate?
Yeah, you're actually like you and Archivir, sorry. You and Archivir both are kind of approaching parallel to where the road is, but on either side of it. So you're following Rue, Archivir, and Rue is a little ahead of you watching Becklin. They're like a few hundred feet, you know, far enough away that maybe you wouldn't be noticed right away. So Jen, Elquin, you're on the other side of the road, headed up the hill towards Thornwall, but you can kind of see this situation unfolding as well. Darrett even points out, like, there she is. She hasn't left town yet. I must be quick. And he runs into the keep, like just sprints ahead of you into the keep. So you're kind of now standing at the outside edge of the keep, up on one hill, and across the road, above the wall, on the other side of the wall, you see the cliff that these soldiers are standing on, taking their pot shots with bow and arrow and javelins and all manner of things, throwing rocks.
How far away is it?
500-600 feet probably from where you're standing.
All right.
And it's up a good 30-foot cliff too. Like it's pretty much a sheer cliff.
Gotcha. All right. There's not much I can't really do anything at that point. All right. So at this, I just start running to catch up with What's the name? I thought it was Derek. What is his name?
Derek with a T. Yeah.
Derek. Sorry.
All good.
He probably gets it all the time.
Yeah. What'd you say, Derek? he answers to it, you know.
No, Derek. That's what I said. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, at this point, you guys are. Malcolm, are you still in the village circle with the rest of the crowd?
I was gonna head toward the wharf and talk to Warfinger, Lance, or his son Nassau,
Okay.
and try to start getting ships set up.
Excellent. So as you, we're gonna jump to you now because that's a good spot to bounce back and forth here. So you meet up with the Warfinger and his son, and they are they're in the village circle, and they absolutely go with you to the wharf, and they begin telling you all about all the ships there. However, they let you know that by their estimate, there's about 400 residents of the village, and all the vessels parked at the wharf could only probably transport about 200 of them. They don't really have much in the way of actual ideas, but they do point out that the local foresting operation floats logs through here, and there's actually a large pile of logs. And they say maybe perhaps we could do something with those. And he says that there are many other villagers with boats that they park up and down the river that are not in the wharf. He says that by his estimate, there's probably enough to fit 100 more people. So that would only leave you lacking about 100 if you were able to do that, to get everyone's personal vessels involved.
Is there any islands nearby?
There is no islands. However, there is a bit of a kind of ferry system running off from the bridge. And here, I'll put up the map of Vogler so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Where the hell I put it? Vogler map. Come on, Vogler map. You get it? Oh, chat's right in the middle. Yeah, let's get rid of chat. There we go. Aha, okay. So there's our map of Vogler. So you're down by the Warfinger's office, and you can see the wharf and things. Just across where it says Vogler's Crossing, there is a kind of running off from the bridge, a contraption that has pulleys and ropes and things, and there's a lot of like flat rafts and old like kind of shitty dinghies and boats and things that are kind of tied on that are used as a sort of like ferry system. These are not like seaworthy crafts necessarily, but they are definitely something that has a number of crafts attached to it that could probably be repurposed.
How long is the trip to Kalari?
To Kalaman is...
Gotta write that out phonetically. I keep saying it right.
Probably about half a day or so downriver.
And then a half day back. I would say is like, let's take a third of the boats and go collect more boats, and then the other 2/3 start sending the women and children first.
The Warfinger's son kind of points out that if you would send the women and children first, they would be undefended. Any sort of attack from the dragon army from the shore would be met pretty, it would be pretty awful.
I thought we'd be further out than they could reach. Is this like a river city, or?
Yeah, it's sort of like, if you can say, like, I don't know how exactly to explain it because the maps are a little vague, but it looks
I did
like...
see it says river. For some reason, I thought this was by like a sea or something.
I think that it is just north of where the river dumps into the sea. So I think the idea is, if I've got it right, the river moves east and then south, and right about where it bends to the south is where Kalamon is.
Okay.
I think. Let me see if I have the Ancelon map. Does this show it? I'm not gonna be able to see it on there though, am I? It's way too small.
You can see it, but I'm not quite sure where.
Yeah, so Calamont Lake, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Calamon is someplace kind of in this mountainous range there. This is, I believe, the river that leads to Vogler, which is just to the west of Calamon, and then it all dumps out into this giant bay here. I think. I can't even see it on my screen right now because it's so freaking small. But yeah, so it's not immediate access to like the ocean or a bay or anything, but this is like a small-ish river village sort of situated in the middle of the river. Like, I think the river comes down on the east side of it and sort of passes around it. And there's like, yeah, the Vingard River, it sort of goes all the way around it, I guess. Maybe it's on like a peninsula jutting out into the river. But the harbor master Warfinger does, he agrees with your idea to go get more boats, and says that him and his son can arrange for that to happen pretty quickly, probably about an hour, and he can get enough boats for another 100 people and bring them back here. He says if you would, if you can collect enough people to help you with the disassembling the ferry, that would leave enough boats for everyone in the town, for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna start trying to requisition people to help do that, and then also get like carpenters to start like ripping doors off to put on like the floating logs to try to create like a larger platform.
Nice, like a big kind of a raft.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
Okay.
a barge. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So yeah, it takes you probably all told, it's that whole thing will take you about an hour to collect people and then another 2 hours to actually start getting it to where it looks like sort of a boat. But you've got some time. We're gonna cut back to the gate for a second. So up at the gate, Derek and Elquin are now in the keep.
Rue, where are you positioned right now?
She was just kind of like following along, like nosily. Basically, she thought they were gonna head out. She was gonna head out behind them, but
When they stop walking, do you like duck behind cover or something like that and kind of like peek or whatever? Or...
she's not very good at keeping quiet. But she's not like either.
At this point, I just like I catch up along Rue's shoulder, and I'm like, I'm not sure what you have planned here, young sorcerer, but it doesn't seem like a task for one person.
He's like, "Oh, you scared me. Be careful. Could have hurt you."
I wasn't concerned.
She's like, "Well, these idiots with the javelins keep throwing them, so I guess these guys can't leave now. But they've got this cannon thing, so I don't know. Maybe that's gonna help."
Okay, so can you guys see the red circle now, right? There's Thornwall Keep, there's the river gate, and up here is the cliff where these soldiers kind of are positioned. There is, you can't really see it, but there's supposed to be like a wall running just inside the cliff, I think. Seems like terrible planning to me. I wouldn't have built my city that way, but hey, I didn't write the book. So, inside the keep, Derek hastily rushes into Becklin's room, pulls a box out from underneath her bed, a large sizable chest, opens it up, and contained within is the armor of a knight of Salamnia. And he pulls the letter back out, and he shows it to you at this point, Elquin, and it is a very lovely letter to him, telling him, you know, there's lots of feels in it, saying how he has been much like a son to Becklin, and he has worked tirelessly to earn this armor, and that although she wishes that his first time in battle could be by her side, she needs him to protect the village of Vogler. She will make her way to Kalaman once she is sure that the villagers have all escaped, and meet with you. And she ordains him a knight of Salamnia. And he quickly begins putting this armor on. And as he does, you can see this large symbol of a rose on the breastplate. And this is kind of dinged up armor. You suspect that it's probably Becklin's old armor, and that she at some point had some new armor fashioned for herself. But Darrett, nonetheless, is extremely proud when he stands, and he finishes by pulling the dinged up, scratched up helmet out, pulling it down over his head. He says, "Well, I have my orders. We'd best be going." And he begins to exit the keep, Elquin alongside of him, and he immediately is like making a beeline back for town, away from this Rivergate situation.
I asked Derek where my warhorse Falcor, as I've decided to call him,
Nice.
is kept, so I can retrieve it.
Yeah, he points out to the stables that are just a few blocks from the Brass Crab, so it is kind of back across town. He says, "I'll show you on the way." So I wonder if old Fezziwig has any more of those fish pies. So back at the Rivergate itself, over here, Rue, you're positioned, like I say, back by some of these houses back here, maybe, with Archivir just a bit behind you, and we've got some guys up on this cliff, and Becklin and Cudgel and a few mercenaries trying to make their way out.
Are Cudgel and the mercenaries making any plans?
The only thing that you've heard is them speaking about the gnome flinger. So like you kind of get an idea that maybe they're planning on launching somebody or themselves or whatever up there to deal with the people, but that's as much as you can kind of infer.
He's basically just keeping an eye on them. So I mean, if they ask her, she'll answer. But like,
okay, so little time goes by. So if you two are just hanging out watching what happens, pretty much you see Cudgel and Becklin go running off towards Thornwall Keep, and there's like, we'll say 4 mercenaries that are still by, or that are by the Rivergate trying to exit. And in short order, you see first one and then another get launched into the air across this this road and this chasm, and probably 30 feet up above the cliff, they're launched. And as they're coming down hard and fast, right directly at these soldiers. And the soldiers do not seem to notice. And about 15 feet above the soldiers, you see a device come flying out of these backpacks that they're wearing, which we could just call a parachute. And yeah, they glide slowly down, just basically on top of these guys, and suddenly you see first one, then another, and then 2 more simultaneously of these soldiers get tossed off the cliff and land at the base of it dead. And you just see Cudgel lean over the edge of the cliff and give the old A-OK sign, the closed thumb and forefinger, and the mercenaries ride out of the gate going out to the north of town. And all this takes some time, obviously. This is like another hour going by. Darrett marches you back past the fishbowl, where he quickly pops in, spends his last few silver on some fish pies, wraps them neatly into a nice little packet, and shoves them down into his armor somewhere. And he says, "Never know when I'll get another one." He informs the proprietor that she'd best be making her way towards the wharf and get her things packed up. So over the next few hours, all these plans begin to come together. Darrett sort of leads the charge on getting people to exit their homes and get their things and go. He's really like adamant that everyone has to leave. And as more people gather at the wharf, the work there goes a little faster. And eventually, these fisher folk are able to put their knowledge together in a way that kind of astounds you, quite frankly, Balcom. Like, you have this idea of, like, you guys should tie all these things together and kind of put some doors on them. And they build a fucking, basically, like, a half a goddamn ship. Like, it's, you're looking at it and you're like, I would take that out on the ocean. And they're like, she'll float.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
At this point, have I gotten my horse and gotten back to the wharf as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You've gotten there. The horse is mounted. Like,
I
all set
offer,
up with the
if
saddle.
it's of any help, to try to communicate with some of the larger sea creatures and have them help, like, guide the boats and help move everything along quicker once they're in the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even in building the stuff, you're able to kind of go down and talk with some of the larger fish, like these trout, carp and things that are down there. And you're able to kind of convince them to assist with this effort to get these logs pushed where they need to go, much to the amazement of the locals. They're not used to seeing this sort of magic. And a few of them even speak of druid craft and things in very, like, hushed tones. Like, they're like, like, you're not quite sure, but you think you might have heard river witch at one point. Like, these are definitely superstitious people, more so than, like, reverent. You know what I mean? They're sketched out. Like, they just went through.
It was Balcom whispering at them. She's a river witch.
Eloquent is used to this sort of behavior and just kind of rolls her eyes and pretends not to notice.
I wink at her.
Eloquent snickers. And actually basically just starts muttering to herself in primordial foolish surface dwellers.
So all of this is coming to task. It's now late afternoon. And you are met on the wharf by Cudgel Ironsmile herself. She looks a little bedraggled. She tells you that she has directed the Ironclad Regiment to hold a position north of the village. The mercenaries believe that they can, for a time, defend against a larger force, as there's a pair of cliff faces that sort of come together and offer a bottleneck. She says she hopes that they won't have to fight, and that with any luck, a show of force and Becklin's convincing will convince the Dragon Army that perhaps Vogler isn't an easy target, as she thinks that perhaps Becklin being there as a Knight of Solamnia, maybe they'll hesitate to provoke the knighthood. Even though they're not the most popular group in Kryn, they are still considered somewhat of a force to be reckoned with.
Eloquent asks how wide the bottleneck area is.
She says, it can't be more than 30 feet across.
Eloquent suggests that she can build a 20-foot area of fog across the majority of it to give give the surprise force cover if it comes down to them defending, so that the invading force can't see as they're coming through.
She kind of considers it for a moment. She says, well, it seems like a reasonable plan, except I'm worried that perhaps my men wouldn't fare so well in it either. You see, most of them are not of, they're not of, oh, how do I put it eloquently? They're humans. They can't quite see as well as us dwarves and, elfkin.
But they can hear, can't they?
Aye, that they can. I think we'll pass this time, lass, but, next
Fair
time,
enough.
next time I get the chance to fight alongside you, I'll be happy to. She looks at
I
all of
nod
you,
respectfully.
and she kind of looks at all of you, and she says, Ispin was right to call you friends. You've come to the aid of this village, and you've only been here a few days. I'm glad I've had a chance to do the same as him, and I'd call you my friend any day as well. And, about an hour after she rides back out, the Mayor Raven, after everyone in the village is gathered at the wharf and they've got their ships ready and everything, they begin loading some things onto the ships, but they're still sort of hesitant. A lot of people are still hesitant to actually, just disembark. And Mayor Raven is even of the mind to wait until they know that they actually have to leave. And it's maybe an hour or two after Cudgel leaves to go back out to the battlefield. And you get the sound of pounding hooves coming from the direction of Rivergate. And a single mercenary rides toward the village. As she gets close to the gate, you hear her yell, "They're coming! Evacuate now! The dragon army!" But the message is cut short as a squat hooded figure launches from the nearby cliff tops and slams into the rider's back, sending horse and rider tumbling. So this
How far away is that?
this is now from you guys. We'll say you're kind of on the road by Rivergate, and you had been just kind of checking the town out, making sure you'd gotten everyone. So you're maybe 50 feet away from the pair of them where they've collapsed. Maybe 40 feet, we'll say. Just make it interesting.
Oh, Zach,
can I dash out and
Yeah, absolutely. How about everybody
move to that
rolls?
person's aid?
But everyone rolls initiative.
Zach, my intent too is that Rue is following. Once they left, Rue is following them. She just didn't want to miss any of the action.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're out by the mercenary position.
Well, yeah. I mean, so who was it that was going to go talk to the army?
So Becklin and Cudgel, the dwarf
Right.
or the knight and the dwarf, were planning on kind of seeing if they could waylay the army, but it seems like everyone kind of understands this to be oh shit, the army's probably going to come try and burn our town to the ground.
So did they end up going out, or this mercenary coming in happened before they could get out?
So they got out. They went out to this position north of town. They're kind of set at a bottleneck, and they're waiting for this army to approach.
Gotcha.
And the dwarf, Cudgel, came back for a brief meeting, told you guys all the stuff about this, and then left again. So now this is a scout from that camp riding into town being oh shit, they're coming, guys. But that's as much as you've gotten out of this scout so far.
Eloquin decides that now that she's got the fish helping, that she's better off helping them stem the tide with her bow than she is sitting at the door helping people escape. And she jumps on her warhorse and rides towards the gate.
Okay.
Zach, before we're actually in combat, am I able to use a dash action and? Well, actually, no, that's in combat. Never mind. I was gonna say, can I run out to see if this person's okay or whatever?
Well, they're
or basically
definitely not okay right now because they have this large draconian figure kind of landing on their back off from a moving horse. But that is the only creature that you do see right now is a.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that'll be whatever order of initiative I get to it. I'll be trying to tackle this creature off that back.
And Zach, so I'm still a little bit unclear. Basically, like if Cudgel and Belkin are out, Rue is intending to follow them wherever they go.
Okay, so we can say that you're now positioned out at this camp, and you actually are able to see her dispersing this rider. And as you see Cudgel send this rider off towards town a few minutes before all this happens, obviously we're kind of going back here a little bit. You can sort of float up the cliff face. It's easy enough for you to get to a point where you can see this approaching army, and by your estimate, it's got to be 2,000 of these Dragon Army soldiers. Many of them mounted. These are heavily armed soldiers. Like literally, as soon as the first few mercenaries see it, you begin to hear like worrisome cries of like, "We're dead men. Like, there's no way we can hold this." Like, it does not seem like morale is particularly high in the mercenary camp right now, and you can only suspect that that Cudgel has sent one of her mercenaries to do exactly what you just heard me say that she did.
Cool. Are there like woods out there, or is this completely clear like road?
Yeah, there's woods. There's I mean, stuff's growing up the side of cliffs. Like this road just happens to go through a narrow pass where there's stuff up above.
So she flies back down to the leaders, tells them what she saw, and says, "I'm gonna go burn them out," and starts flying off to do that.
Okay.
I have been like chaperoning, kind of like reach out. I'm like, not by yourself. You're not.
Oh wait, okay. So I am confused because I thought where Archivir was is different from where Rue is at this point.
Well, I would have, back when we were in conversation, I would have caught up, like when you were checking them out, seeing what they were doing. Like I was following behind you, I would have caught up to you. That's like where I came up behind you that other time. I was like,
okay.
So wherever you had gone, I would have pursued like with
so you wouldn't have been present.
My whole point of
showed up.
What's that?
So you wouldn't have been present when this scout showed up back in town then.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You would have been out.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out like where, if that was where that was relative to where I was. But yeah, okay.
So Zach, where we are right now is like where the Two High Hill arrow shows. Is that right?
No, where you guys are. Yeah, like you're farther north than High Hill. You've actually passed High Hill at this point.
Right, but it's up.
But yeah, it's that direction. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, that would leave Balcom and Elquin. And if you
Balcom's with the refugees here. We're gonna.
Okay, so you're not going.
I'm trying to organize a safe
Elkwood
escape
was
for everyone.
Elquin was trying to ride back up to the gate so that she could help there because she's more of a warrior than anything.
So Elquin, you would have been the only one to witness this then, as this scout comes riding in. Like you probably heard cries as you were riding towards the gate, and then this happens where there is this Draconian figure, similar to the one that you saw in your initial encounter with these things, but it's only one of them, and yeah, he's just attacking this girl. So we can just do a quick one-on-one if you want.
Sure.
All right. Did you roll initiative already or no?
I did not.
Okay. Just roll me an initiative check.
9.
Okay. We'll start with that. So the Draconian sees you standing there and lets out a great roar.
Or I'm on my horse.
Sorry, sees you riding there and lets out a great roar. And he takes a great sweeping blow at this scout. Where is his attack? I don't know why we don't have it as a separate thing up top. That would be so much handier. The attack. takes a swipe with his short sword and misses. And we'll say that's his second attack, because the first one was successful in knocking him off the horse. So the next one to go would be you, Elquin.
All right, so what am I facing right now exactly?
So you are facing the river gate. He is.
No, I mean as far as my opponent.
Oh, you're literally facing him. He is.
What does he look like? And
Let's see if I can pop this up into the chat here, because one of the things that it screwed up last week. Just fix the properties on this. Find the right file here. So he looks about like that.
sorry. Gotcha. Can I gallop up on my horse and use my horse to do the whole run up and kick attack?
Yes, if your horse has an attack. I believe it does.
Yeah, hold on, let me bring it. I have it saved somewhere. Let me just bring it up.
Yep.
I have the war horse page. There it is. The war horse. Trampling charge. If the horse moves at least 20 feet straight towards a creature and then hits it with a hooves attack on the same turn, that target must succeed on a DC 14 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. If the target is prone, the horse can make another attack with its hooves against it as a bonus action.
Excellent. So you want to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Go right ahead. And I have to, is it an automatic, I have to make a strength save? Is that what it was?
That's what it sounds like,
Okay.
from what I'm reading here. It's a DC 14 strength saving throw.
That is a 10. So you are able to knock this thing prone right off from the top of this scout before any more damage is done.
And then I guess that would mean it would, and the hoops, when it's a attack, it's a, does that actually, so that means I can make another attack now that it's prone as a bonus action, and that would be +6 to hit with a DC 20, I assume?
Well, it's gonna, if it's +6 to hit, then it's just against his armor class, which is a...
It says, hooves, melee weapon attack, +6 to hit, reach 5 foot, 1 target, hit 11, and then in parentheses, 2d6 +4 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, so just go ahead and roll a regular d20 with your +6.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I meant. I thought that's what it was. So 13 +6, so that'd be a 19.
Okay, yeah, that definitely hits. So go ahead and roll your damage.
All right. Hold on, let me get back to that page that gives me the ability to do that. Sorry, bear with me a
You're all
second.
good. I'll see if I can include your warhorse in the initiative tracker, because then I can just do it right from here for you. I can click on the thing and have it roll.
No doubt. Pretty sure if I click on my warhorse, it gives me the ability to. Oh, there it is. Nope, apparently not. All right, let me just look at again how it said I was supposed to do the damage here.
Yep.
2d6 +4. Okay, one moment. There we go. So 8 damage.
Okay.
And that's just my horse's turn. That doesn't count as my turn too, right?
Correct.
All right, so then as my bonus action, I'm gonna since I'm right up and personal with him, I'm gonna cast Shillelagh, and then I'm gonna attack with my quarterstaff.
Okay.
And that's 18 to hit.
That hits.
I was gonna say, if he's prone to, you usually get advantage on melee attacks on a prone creature.
All right, so that's another 8 damage.
Okay. Alright, he is now looking very bloodied. That's it for your turn, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
The scout rolls over, uses some of his movement to stand back up, and takes a swing with a short sword. Rolls a natural 20.
Nice.
What is his damage? D6 plus 2. Doing 4 more damage to this guy. This guy's not all the way dead, but he's not looking happy. Let's see, let's go through people here. Oops, back up to our Draconian.
Zach, we're all too far away from Elquin to hear any of this commotion.
Yeah, you
right?
guys are like a mile to the north, basically, like the two
Oh,
of
wow,
you
okay,
are.
yeah.
And then Balcom would be on the other side of town, essentially, so he would have no
Yeah,
clue
okay.
this is even happening. The Baz Draconian stands up, seeing this new force to be reckoned with standing over him. He's going to take 2 swings at Elquin. So let's see. First one is a 23 to hit. I'm assuming that hits.
That does indeed.
Okay. Doing 7 damage.
Wait, he's prone. How can he be?
He's used to half his movement to stand up.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning of his turn.
Gotcha.
And second attack. So first one was 7 damage to you.
Okay.
Second one is a miss. I'm assuming you only rolled a 5, and that was at +3. So it's pretty
Yeah.
terrible. So he does a little bit of damage, but nothing crazy, and it is your turn again.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have my horse hoof attack again.
Okay. So let's see. First one is a strength save to see if he gets knocked down again, right?
Oh no, that's only on a running charge.
Oh, that's not a running charge. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm just rolling to attack. Ooh, 10.
That is a miss.
All right, and well, I guess. I'm just looking to see. Do I have to cast Shillelagh every single time? No, it's a duration for a minute, so I don't have to cast it again.
You got like 10 rounds of combat.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to attack with my staff again.
Yep.
17.
That hits. And I'm assuming kills him. If there's any bonus damage.
4.
Yep, that sure does. So yeah, you bludgeon this guy's skull right in. The scout is absolutely thankful.
I search him for anything that might be of value.
Let's see, what does he have on him? Anything cool? He does have a short sword. Just a regular old short sword. It is well maintained. You can kind of see what it looks like in the picture there. So a couple of things happen when this thing dies. First, it hits the ground. The scout quickly turns to you and is very thankful for a moment, and then he says, "Quickly, we must move!" and begins trying to forcibly push your horse away from this thing. And you look down and see that this Draconian is slowly turning to stone, and that it's releasing some sort of a gas from it.
I quickly cast a fog cloud and push it in a direction away from the courier and the scout rather, and away from like our allies.
Okay, I'll allow it. Yeah, and as you kind of step back a few feet, the gas doesn't have a very wide range, but yeah, your fog essentially does. It just coats this and sort of pushes it out of the way. And the scout looks at you again with wide eyes, like he's never seen any sort of magic, anything like that in his life. And he's like, "Are you an angel?"
No, I'm just not from around here.
He says, "At least that wasn't one of the bad ones. Some of them blow up. Quickly, we must find the mayor."
Why? What's going on?
He says,
I was going back to try to help at the gate.
there's no use. They'll be overwhelmed in a matter of minutes there. It's hopeless. Becklin and Cudgel both know it, but they're going to try to buy us some time. She's sending off contingents of the Ironclad Regiment to different directions once we get routed, but we have to go now. We have to get the town evacuated. She said I didn't have a choice. I had to come here and tell
All right,
you all.
hop on back of my horse. We'll get there quicker.
Okay. The scout nods and jumps up on top of you, or on top of the horse, and you guys ride back
I try
towards
do my
town.
best to help him up as well.
So back at the wharf, things are, as you are riding back down through town towards the wharf at breakneck speed. Balkan, you are the only one of your group kind of here at the time. And you see that the villagers remain like eerie quiet as they're starting to kind of lower themselves into the boats. And then suddenly a panic washes over this crowd as you can see cloaked figures emerging at the edge of the cliffs all around the city. They linger for a moment, and then some of them step off the edge. You see wings sweep from beneath their cloaks, slowing their descent into the village. Darrett Highwater comes running from a nearby location, draws his sword, and he says, "Please, help me defend these escaping villagers. We'll meet these fuckers in battle." And then he lets out a big gulp.
I nod and turn to stand with him, or turn my horse to stand with him.
Yeah, like, this is happening just as you're pulling up on the horse. The scout's jumping off. The scout runs to find Mayor Raven. He's yelling things to her.
I get out my bow.
Okay. So, a kind of random villager is running around now, and she's screaming out a name. Like, she's like, "Nathan! Emily!" We'll just use those. That's fine. And she runs up to you and she says, "Have you seen my children? Nathan and Emily, they ran off. It was minutes ago, but I can't find them anywhere. Please help."
Where's your house?
She sort of points, and it's like, she points a few blocks up, and you can kind of see like a shitty little fucking shack.
We'll bring him down to the wharfs. Get yourself to safety.
She's just crying. She's like slobbering mess. Or you see like this kind of older fat guy come running up, and he's like, "Oh, there you are, Nell. Here, come on. They'll get the children for you. Don't worry." And he's like leading her back to the boats. All right, so at the northern side of town, near where you saw the cliff stuff, there is, like we'll say, all along this cliff is where these draconians seem to be appearing from, and they are floating down at random intervals into the town from the north. You guys obviously are down here in the southern part of the map. Let me see if I can't zoom you back out here a little bit. Oh, what did I do with the Vogler map? Let's make this fit to screen.
Where's the house where the kids are?
Let's see. So, oops, wrong thing. Red X. I have too many things open. Okay, there we go. So you guys are down here on the wharf. She pointed up to an area like up in here somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's around there. So you don't think that maybe the Draconians have gotten there yet? Like, most likely, if you had to guess, these kids kind of ran off to go get something from the house that they forgot.
Rue
kids are assholes.
and I forgot
Archivir.
Rue and Archivir are still up near the gate, right?
They are up about a mile past town. They are up in the woods watching this shit show unfold. And we'll get to that in a second, too.
All right. I suggest to Malcolm that the fastest way to do this would be for me or somebody else to on horseback to ride up there and quickly retrieve the children.
Oh, wouldn't? And then I cast Duplicity 60 feet away toward the thing.
Eloquent
sorry,
looks
100
very
100
impressed.
120 feet away.
Eloquent's like, nice. Visibly impressed.
Every townsfolk that was standing near you, Balcom, that saw the other image of you suddenly pop into existence, just jumps back away from you.
Eloquent snickers and says, I guess I'm not the only one that's scary around here.
Let's go see Witch.
All right.
Okay, nature nymph.
So racing to this house, you get there and the door is unlocked and open, and you can hear two small voices in the back of the house, and you can hear one of them going, come on, Nate, we've got to go. And the other one's saying, I don't care, Emily, I'm not leaving without it. And as you make your way into the house, you are suddenly you feel a sharp pain in this. I'll say, Balcom, you feel like a sharp pain in the side of your neck, like a small needle or something poking you, and then several more all around your face, and suddenly you can't see anything. Elquin, you witness a small kitten leaping from a bookcase onto the side of this Kender's neck and head and sort of blinding it, just attaching itself in absolute terror of whatever the hell is going on. This kitten is scared shitless.
Help, I'm being attacked.
I say, calm. Eloquent laughs and says, hold, calm down, Bucklin, and gently tries to,
I'm running in circles.
Eloquent yells, stop and stand still, otherwise you're going to continue to feel the claws of your attacker. Laughing all the while.
He's got claws?
So the two children run out of the bedroom, and the boy says, there he is! And comes running over and unceremoniously rips the kitten off your face.
Ow!
You do take 1 point of piercing damage.
Son of a... Nathan and Emily, I assume?
The boy's eyes kind of get wide, and he looks at the pair of you, and the girl nods slowly.
You got your mama real worried. You gotta get to the wharfs, quick. We're taking off. We're getting out of here.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I couldn't leave it
No time for
behind.
talking. Get out of here.
So the two kids go running out of the room, running back down towards the wharf, and as you follow after, you're probably like 40 or 50 feet from the wharf when you see them reunite with their mom and presumably their dad. And she's chastising them, yelling at them, swatting them in the head and shit. She's not fucking happy with them. And then she's hugging them and kissing them and then swatting them again. Typical parent reaction for shit like that. Now, as you're paying attention to this, you roll me actually, don't even roll me anything. Let's see. 14 and 13. Okay, so Balcom, you notice a strange shadow float overhead, and you look up just in time to see a large winged creature, large winged humanoid of some sort, dropping something right in your general direction.
I think the big burb just pooped.
So the two of you make me a dexterity saving throw. Balcom, you'll have advantage on this because you actually saw the creature. DC is going to be 13 on this as you watch this thing kind of falling towards your location. It's about the size of like a bottle or a flask.
Oh, not 20. 23.
18.
Okay, so you are both conveniently able to dive out of the way as this thing shatters and flames spurt out of the flask all over the ground.
I quickly I make sure that everybody's okay and then quickly run to my horse.
Mm.
Falcor, come!
You're just lucky you didn't name it Artax. So you make your way back towards the wharf, and now people are scrambling to get on these boats. This time, we're going to cut back to the cliffs. Let's see. 11. So, Archivir, roll me a perception check, DC 12.
Nope.
Okay. So
Distracted or something.
you're watching this army very intently as it marches towards your position, and now you don't have necessarily a lot of experience with military things, but being a monk, you are, I assume, fairly well read, and you have heard tales of smaller forces defending straits like this in dire situations. And you're kind of thinking off to yourself for a moment about stories you've read, and you look to the cliffs above this spot, and you're not quite sure, but you see what looks kind of like 3 shadowy figures mounted on some sort of steeds. But they're gone almost as quickly as you think you saw them, and you kind of shake your head and you think just must have been a trick of the light or something. The sun gleaming off the cliff as it approaches the horizon. Rue, you are currently kind of making your way towards the dragon army beyond this this sort of 2 cliff faces, intent on burning the forest down. Is that what I understand?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you begin to see these things approaching to a point where they're coming within range of your machinations here.
And she's not really trying to engage with the army. She's just like, I'm gonna go like set everything I can on fire so they can't walk through.
Okay. So you're literally just firebugging the whole area, basically, right?
Yeah, she's gonna fly forward a bit, try to like stay out of range and just like see what's happening. But unless anything catches her attention, yeah, she's gonna start fireballing all the like trees and vines and whatever.
Okay, yeah. Within just a few minutes, you have a very large area of the woodland set ablaze in front of these cliffs, and I'm going to assume that you know enough about fire to sort of build it in one direction, more so than, like you found like a bare spot, like a fire break of some sort, and you like started the forest fire in a way that it would burn towards the army and not back towards the town.
Right.
As much as possible, anyway.
Maybe I suggested that with my survival skill or whatever I got.
Yeah, like
as I backed like a healthy distance way back.
Yeah, I mean, Rue's crazy and also plays with fire all the time, so she knows.
Excellent.
I'm like, look, if you're gonna do that, can you please go on right over there? And
obviously, yeah, of course.
I am all about a freaking pyromaniac in a campaign. This will be fun. Had a lot of murder hobos, never a pyromaniac, and I'm super excited about it.
Did you notice any of these, like, so you're saying there's also winged figures like up at the top of the cliff, and she's she's definitely flying while doing this, but they're like up above her?
Yeah, they wouldn't be necessarily in your line of sight. They would be like, I would assume that Rue would be in a position where she could see them from her angle, but maybe you wouldn't be able to see them from yours. Especially if you're flying and looking down and burning things. And
because of that insight that I had earlier, I'm sort of just like periodically scanning the cliffs. Just, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, so at least temporarily, it seems like this is working, Rue. You are, like, you notice when your fires start to approach the lead of the army, and at first it seems like it's keeping them back. You notice, like, the army basically kind of stops moving. They don't, however, seem to be retreating to the advancing fire. What you do see is several figures robed in robed in black that approached the lead of the group, and you can notice some sort of a spellcasting ritual going on, and it seems like whatever spells they are casting seem to be redirecting the fire around the front of the group, and the army is essentially just waiting for it to burn off around them. You do notice some of the warrior types kind of cutting trees down around the army and things like that, like chopping them down quickly with axes and building their own fire breaks. It seems like perhaps this tactic has been used against the dragon army before, but it has definitely bought you some time. And this is noted by Cudgel. She kind of, I would say, notices the thing flying around with fire shooting out of it, and is like, what the fuck is going on there? And once she figures out who it is, assuming that you return after setting the forests ablaze, she approaches you quickly and says, "That was smart thinking. You bought us quite a few minutes. I'm thinking it might be best for our entire force to start retreating back towards the village. We'd be better off leaving with the refugees and protecting them on the trip than trying to stand here and die. We'll keep a small force here, me, Becklin, a few of my closest, but Jayev," and she calls to one of her lieutenants, and he comes running over, says, "He'll escort you back. He's one of my most trusted men, and I think he's the right man to lead the rest of the Iron Regiment if something happens to me." And she sort of is looking at him for a moment, and he puts his sword pommel up to his chest and kind of takes a knee, and he says, "Anything for you, Commander Cudgel?" He stands back up and he says, "Well, you plan on staying here and dying with the rest of them, or are we going back to town?"
Rue shrugs. She's like, "They don't have to die. They could just come back to town too. But whatever. You do you." She's still mostly like trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and like, so yeah. I mean, she's launches herself back into the air. Like, she's going towards town, but she's scouting.
Okay.
You bunches, you have good night. I did not mean to throw that.
I'm curious too. The spellcasters that you saw, they aren't within 120 feet, were they?
No, they were farther back than that. Like, I mean, you got to figure the fire spreading and stuff probably spreads at a few hundred feet per minute, and you're probably even 500 or 600 feet from the lead of the army by the time the fire actually meets with them from where you're setting it. Like, you're a ways out. Like you said, you were kind of staying back. You weren't trying to like engage with them directly or come within like arrow shot. You don't want to get shot down by 1,000 arrows, but
for sure. Okay.
But you could definitely see like magical swirls off in the distance, and you're like, wait a minute, that looks pretty magic-y.
Yeah.
And keeping in mind what you know about magic, your only assumption would be that these are some sort of association with the black robes of the mages of the High Order.
He's like, "I thought it was just a bunch of jocks, but I guess it's some nerds too."
Nice. All right. So assuming that you two are escorting as many of these mercenaries as are heading back as possible, it's a pretty quick run back to town, like 10-15 minutes over a mile of a lot of troops kind of going as quick as they can. So back in town near the wharfs, these draconians are just laying waste to the town. Like, you can see them from all vantages, and they seem to be just kind of floating down from the cliffs, not so much flying necessarily, but coasting, sort of like almost like hang gliding, and then landing in town. And a lot of them are bearing torches, burning buildings immediately. And as the smoke and fire starts overtaking the town from the north, you can hear the screams of the villagers still evacuating into the boats ring through all this smoke. And all of a sudden, through these screams rises a word repeated over and over. at first you're not sure that you're hearing it right, but then it comes across clear as day. Dragon! Suddenly you're hearing a horrible noise come from just up the street from you, just this clanging and rattling noise. And then it comes into view and pitching one way and another, sort of awkwardly, its scales clanking like steel plates. This big black beast draws near the wharf, flanked by 4 of the reptilian invaders. Flames kind of crackle all along the beast's gaping maw. And let me get you to another map here. Binga banga boom. Let's see, can you guys all see the map? Kind of ish, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Looks good.
Let me move our red O over here. Oops. Why did I put the red circle so far up to the top? Nope. Move that out of the way for now. Managing OBS can be very difficult at times. And so here we are. Let's see. At this point, I'll explain our map to you. See, all this swirly shit is kind of like the fray that we talked about before, where like there's just sort of ongoing battle. Some of the militia of Vogler has engaged with these things. They've run off to try to protect and slow their attack down. And as the mercenaries begin flooding back into town, they are also engaging with these things. So there is a fairly sizable battle going on throughout the city. But where you are, Balkan and Elquin, and we will kind of assume that maybe this is all happening right as you guys are returning. So we will put your full party kind of somewhere in here. This is you guys. See if I can zoom in enough and you guys can actually see it. So we got Rue and Archivir and Balcom, and I don't know why I just wrote down Triton. Weird. Should say Elfwin.
I love that Scorch Marks is labeled.
I almost gave you guys the player map, but then I wouldn't know where to reference things, and I figured the words would be easier.
I missed a little bit of what's going on. I had to say goodbye to Jake, but
all good.
Did I hear something about a dragon?
Yes. So you heard that all of the villagers near the wharf here, we can assume just off the edge of the wharf here is where like the boats are and things. It's so hard because for some reason OBS doesn't register the entire map. It's like just cuts off the edges of it, so I have to make sure you guys can see what I'm talking about. You guys are kind of here near the wharf. You've all reconvened, and smashing through all of this is 4 or more of these Baz Draconians that you saw earlier, Alquin, and this thing. I don't know if that shows up well enough on your guys' screen. Puffing black smoke is this large, 4-wheeled mechanical beast made out to look like a dragon. It is belching smoke. Fire is gouting out of its mouth, and sort of half riding, half accompanying the thing are these 4 Draconians. And as it approaches you, one of them you see takes its torch and swings it out in front of the mouth, reigniting it, while one of them feeds some sort of a jug or barrel into a port. And finally, the third one pulls on a large lever, and a giant gout of flame explodes out from its mouth and hits just in front of you, setting ablaze the brass crab. Several of the villagers nearby scatter and begin running all towards the boats. And at this very moment, one of the walls of the brass crab pretty much explodes outward, and from within it, let me see if I can get us to zoom in anymore. I don't know why I can't. Can we do this and then zoom in more? No. Why I can't zoom in any more than that? That's frustrating. Can I zoom in up? Well, that's a little bit better, I guess. Is a large ogre dressed in the colors of the dragon army, accompanied also by 2 of these Baz Draconians. And he stomps out. Scooch down a little bit here. He's holding a barrel of fish under one arm as he kind of works his way through the exploded out wall. Grabs a handful, like 4 or 5 of these wriggling live fish, and just shoves them into his mouth. Her mouth, sorry. And he sort of points at the 4 of you, says, "Them next!" Just gestures towards you, and the 2 soldiers begin moving forward obediently. So, but this time we'll have everybody roll initiative.
When Rue sees the fake dragon thing, she's like, "That's racist, and it doesn't even look right. It doesn't even look real." He's yelling at them.
Into my encounters here for whatever reason.
Oh. It's so funny when virtual dice are like do that like teetering on the edge thing.
Oh yeah.
It's like, okay, no, this has already been decided, but it did look like I almost got a 19.
Right.
I got a 1 instead. Shit.
Have you tried shaking your screen?
Table must be tilted.
Alright, so let's see, what did I get here? I got 2 for Rue. I didn't have my encounter open before you guys started rolling, so I didn't get everybody's. 13 for Archivir.
I got a 6.
6 for Elquin, and a 9 for Balcom.
9.
Rue got a 2. Wah, wah.
Start. So one of the 2 Draconians begins to move forward. He is clearly in some sort of a rage state here. He has obviously been looting and plundering, and the bloodlust has taken hold of him. And these guys look like they're willing to absolutely fight to the death. He approaches Elquin, who is arbitrarily the closest in the group, because that's kind of where I put people.
I'm on my horse at this point, so.
Well, that's fine. He charges you and
I
your
just-
horse.
He kills your horse. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Falcor!
Do we need a initiative roll for the horse too?
No, that's interesting, though. If it becomes an official NPC, we might. So I'm assuming a 6 does not hit. And how about a 14?
My armor class is a 14.
Okay, so he just hits on that one. Doing 2 points of damage total. Let's see, who would be next? Next in our initiative is going to be this large ogre. And it says, "Let Viewmaster Goldhag show you how it's done." Charges past. Gets to Balcom. And swings at Balcom.
Which one am I?
So you are the one that for some reason has wings.
Oh, okay.
Even though you don't fly or have wings.
And is enormous.
You're bird person.
Yeah, that was literally as small as I could make that model. So I may have to pick new models for you guys. I'm not sure. It depends on what works. So he swings at you, or at Balcom for 12, or with a 12.
That misses.
I'm assuming that misses. Okay. He just
Oh,
gets
do I get a
single.
reaction because he ran up to me?
Yeah, I mean, you can take a reaction.
All right. I'm going to attack.
Wait, what is that? What's a reaction?
Well, some things allow you to act as a reaction, but I don't know specifically.
Oh, never mind. I was thinking wrong. I was thinking wrongly, like because he ran towards me. I was thinking, never mind. It's when he runs away. My bad. That was a stoner moment.
Like a
You're thinking of an opportunity attack.
Yeah. I'm not used to being a fighter.
Yeah.
Like I've never been face to face with an enemy before.
I've always held back.
So yeah, so he misses. Who would be next here? Archivir, you'd be next in initiative.
All right.
So you are now
Well, since this,
diagonally engaged with this guy as well.
yeah. So when this guy comes up to me, for some reason, when I look at him, I feel this like crazy buzzing in my arms and my hands, and I clench my fists, and for the first time ever, I project my astral arms of my astral self as my bonus action.
Nice.
And I'm like kind of like overwhelmed. But then I'm gonna pummel this guy with him.
Do you have forearms now?
So I guess I have a choice. Mine of having them either like suspended near my shoulders or having them just be like around my arms. And I'm gonna have them just be around my arms. Like kind of like a glow, like a blue glow light
The
that's
spectral
projected
gauntlet
outward.
kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah, but like all the way up, like a whole arm length thing. That's just like
That's
like
pretty
a almost like what's the guy in the Watchmen? You know the blue guy.
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, Dr. Manhattan. Picture that like a larger than me self that's like blue and kind of like just a radiant light. But all you have right now is the arms.
Nice.
And it matches the color of that like blue of my visor that glows, which is like super bright through the visor right now. Yeah, so let's see. I have to figure out how this works. I haven't done it yet. I'm gonna hit with my. So I can use my wisdom instead of my dex and strength. It doesn't really matter in this case, but yeah. And I think trying to see if I get one or two. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I have to use a key point to do it. And I'm going to do that too. I'm going to use a key point. I'm going to do flurry of blows. So I guess that means. Oh no, that would be a bonus action. So I can't on this turn. Never mind. I already used my bonus action to project my astral arms. So believe that I get maybe just one attack. That's going to be a whiff. 11.
That is a miss.
Yeah. And then double check if that's my turn or not.
Viewmaster Golcag says, "What's the matter? First day with new arms?"
Well, yeah.
Anything
All right,
else? Any movement or anything?
No, I think I'm gonna stay put.
Nick, it looks like when you summon those arms, they do some damage.
Oh, hang on. You're right.
Like when they're first summoned, it looks like.
Oh yeah, I had to spend a key point to summon them too. Yeah. Okay. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 10 feet must succeed on. So whatever enemies I have within 10 feet of me, which I guess is just these two guys, right? Actually, that guy's is he 10 feet?
Yeah, they're both within 10 feet. He's just outside, actually.
Just outside, yeah. All right, so this motherfucker needs to roll me a dex saving throw, DC 12.
Okay. Bloop. So that is a 9.
And he fails. He's going to take 2d4 damage. 4.
4 damage.
And that's force damage. And I can use wisdom in place of strength when making strength checks and saving throws for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Little sidebar.
Nice.
All right. Good catch, Dave. Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
That's cool. Yeah,
damage is
I was reading about monks, so this is like all pretty new to me. But
Yeah, I made a last minute change to Astral Self, so I have to like figure a bunch of shit out.
All right, so that brings it to Balcom's turn.
Balcom's going to try a new move here too. He's going to cast Inflict Wounds. The 24 to hit.
Oh, that definitely is.
And that's
Whammer.
4d10.
Wow, what level are you casting that at?
Level 2. 26
Wow.
damage.
nice.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Battle cleric.
Darrett Highwater, who happens to be standing near you, sees you kind of reach out and touch this guy, and he just gets swamped, and he's like, "Holy hell, man!" The ogre does not find it as entertaining. He did not like that. He is now she is now looking bloodied.
That's a
anything else?
necrotic damage, so I don't know if that makes a difference, but
I don't think so. Doesn't have any weaknesses or anything to different damage types, so I'm assuming that. Anything else on Balcom's turn, or just that?
I'm gonna not cast, but I'm gonna use taunt as a bonus action, and I'm gonna taunt the ogre.
All right.
Nice.
Or actually, can I taunt the lizard man that's attacking Elquin here?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if he attacks anyone but me, he gets disadvantage.
Yeah.
Nice. There you go.
All right.
Elquin nods her thanks to Balcom.
And on that note, Elquin, it is your turn.
Alrighty. So first off, I'm gonna attack with my horse, the one that attacked me.
Yep.
16.
A 16, I believe, hits. Yep.
Alright. Oh, sorry, let me just see what that was again. 2d6. That would be sorry, 1 second. It's 4. 10 damage from my horse.
Sorry, what was that?
10 damage from my horse.
10 damage heard. Sorry,
And then
taking my sweatshirt off.
Alright, for me, I'm going to cast Shillelagh again. And then attack with my quarterstaff. And 22 to hit.
That hits.
And that's another 7 damage.
All right.
Sorry. Yeah, 7. My bad.
That particular draconian is looking very damaged now, very bloodied. You're pretty sure you can identify when these things are about to die. That's what he looks like. All right.
That would be my turn.
Okay. The other draconian that is coming out of the thing finally gets a move here. 10, 15, 20, 25. So he runs up. He's not going to be able to get around to anybody else. So he's going to come at you as well, Alquin.
Oh, wonderful.
Let's see. Oops. Roll down to his attack. Making 2 attacks at you. First one is a 4. That's a miss. Second one is a 19. That hits, yes?
It does indeed.
Alright, so... Oof. 7 damage. Ouch.
Yeah, I am very bloodied at this point. I turn to Belquin and say, could you help?
I am. Did you see me get that guy?
Alright, that is the Draconian's turn. Rue, it is on you. You do notice that the 4 Draconians that are manning this this large machine-looking thing over here do seem to be reloading it. They do seem to be like fueling it back up again for another shot.
As far as we can tell, this thing is like machine, not living, right?
Yeah, absolutely. From far away, you could see how people would mistake it for a dragon, but it is definitely some sort of a machine device.
And in front of us, there's a Draconian and an ogre, both of which are very bloodied, and then one that's not. Is that right?
So you have a Draconian that has not been hurt, one that has, like, badly, and then the ogre is looking bloodied at this point. He's had a few pretty nasty, one really nasty shot on him.
All right. Let's see. She's going to. Well, first of all, I mean, I'm assuming she's already in the air, but if not, she's gonna. Well, I guess either way, she'll launch into the air.
Okay.
Doesn't look like anyone's right next to her, right?
You are, like you're sort of kitty corner to the ogre. Oh no,
Okay.
sorry. You're about 10 feet from the ogre, so yeah.
All right. She's going to twin Tasha's mind whip and hit the 2 nearest Draconians that are operating that thing.
Okay.
So, is that right? Shit. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out metamatic. So she can. So she's got Quicken Spell and Twin Spell, and my understanding is that with Quicken Spell she can cast a spell as a bonus action, but then can only cast a cantrip as an action. Is that right?
If it's the one, the Twin Spell one is the one that you can cast twice, but it just can't. It can be only be a spell that is able to be used on one person.
Right. But then I'm wondering, for Quicken Spell, it says, let me just bring it up. So it reduces the casting time of a spell from an action to a bonus action.
Oh yeah, that's what it does. Absolutely.
So I'm wondering, does that mean that, she can she cast 2 spells on a turn, or is it? I think I read somewhere that you can only.
Well, are you using a spell point to use that ability?
Yeah.
So no, it doesn't count as a spell slot. It counts basically a spell point. Basically, is something that you can use as at any point. At least it was as a sorcerer.
Right. She's
and
a
then
sorcerer.
then that spell becomes your whatever spell you choose to use that spell that action on, or excuse me, that ability on, becomes a bonus action.
Right. Though what I'm asking is,
it doesn't cost you an action at all.
But so my understanding is the rules is you can only cast 1 leveled spell per turn, and I don't know if Quicken Spell gets you around that, or it doesn't say that it does.
So you can only cast 1 spell that costs an action. 1 spell that you can cast 2 spells. One has to have the cost of an action. The other has to have
the bonus action cost. And
so
that's what that ability does.
Quicken Spell turns it from an action to a bonus action. So you still
Okay.
use your bonus action, and you still use your spell slot,
right.
But you're using a bonus action instead of an action. So then you can again use an action to cast another spell.
Okay.
Exactly.
So yeah, it does let you cast 2 spells that would normally not be able to be cast.
Right. All right, cool. So she's gonna yeah, twin Tasha's mind whip at those two draconians. So intelligence saving throw 13.
Okay. Alright, so we'll 1-2 this. Okay, so the first one fails,
You explained that far better than I did, Zach.
and the second one also fails. I had to look it up. It's literally been like 4 years since I played a sorcerer character, I think.
That's what I was trying to explain. I was just doing it poorly.
So 11 psychic damage and can't take a reaction until the end of its next turn. On its next turn, has to either move, action, or bonus action.
Okay.
She's hoping that, like, if all 4 of these guys are needed to move the thing forward, that this will stop him from moving it forward.
Yeah. So you actually managed to kill one of these guys.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of them just literally falls down dead. Must be that he was already wounded from previous encounters. And it does create some shouting amongst the other two that were not targeted. They just start yelling at the third one. They don't know what the hell happened. Just one of their guys just fell down dead, pretty much. And the other guy is sort of looking kind of like dazed, like he doesn't know where the hell he is. So you've definitely interrupted their ability to operate this thing for this turn, which is probably really a good idea for you.
All right, and then with the quicken spell bonus action, she's going to hit the one wounded guy near them, and then the ogre with the other two with magic missile.
Okay.
All right, so 4 damage to the draconian and 8 to the ogre.
Okay, that draconian is hanging on. He has
Oh, come on.
1 hit point left.
Shit.
Stiff breeze will do him in. How much to the ogre?
8.
8 to the ogre? Okay.
He's like, why won't you just die already?
Alright. Our Boz Draconian that is severely damaged. Gives it his all, his death throes here. Takes a swing at Elquin yet again.
Wait a minute. I thought
18.
I thought he already had went.
It was top of the round. He was the first one to go. You got swung at by the other guy as well. There's 2 of them.
Well,
Yep.
I'm probably about to die. Alrighty, go.
That is 5 points of damage.
I did.
All right. Well, you're downed. You're not
I'm
dead
down.
yet. Stepping over your downed body, he oops.
Did he swing with disadvantage because I did taunt him?
Oh, that's right. He did not swing with disadvantage. Let me do a second roll. There's hope yet. Run out of the way here. There we go. The lower of those 2. First one is 18. That is 14. That's still a hit, but I will re-roll damage. Still does 4 damage.
I'm still down. I had 3 hit points left.
Right. He steps past you and takes his next swing at Balcom. Right? Rolls a 4.
Still ugly.
At least he didn't have disadvantage on that one. That's gonna be his whole ass turn. Next is Viewmaster Golcag, who turns, seeing Balcom, says, "Don't call her ugly, she's beautiful."
It's a she? Wait, are you a she too?
Of course I'm a she, you can't tell by my outrageous good looks. And then swings like hell at you with a very large great club. Rolling an 11. D&D Beyond's dice roller fucking is in love with you, Nick. I don't know. Does not want you to die at all. Swing and a miss.
And your luck.
All right. Archivir, you're up.
All right. I'm gonna spend a key point and use my flurry of blows. So that's gonna give me 3 unarmed strikes with my blue fists.
All right. Oh, this guy's about to get blue-fisted so hard.
Oh yeah. What's the AC?
14. What you're looking to.
14.
Or,
All right.
yes.
God damn. I missed all 3 of those.
I was gonna say, I think Flurry Blows is a bonus action. You still get a regular attack too on top of that.
Well, the flurry of blows is 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that levels up, right? As you get higher in level, you get more.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I haven't looked at all of it yet, but yeah, I think so.
I don't remember which character in Bill's game had like 1,000,000 shots that they could take whenever they monk the fuck out.
Yeah, at a certain point, and then there's like extra attacks that I'm gonna get to at certain levels. So I could do like an unarmed attack and get the flurry of blows, and then still do like a quarter step attack and that kind of thing later on. All right, so that uses my bonus action for the flurry of blows. So
Yeah.
guess that flurry of blows. Sorry guys, I really got to figure this thing out. I don't even know what's going on right now.
So it really is my first day
I'm
with
dead,
new arms.
so I can't say shit.
Why are my hands blue?
You've got 3 more death saves before that happens, Jen. You'll be fine.
You're gonna have to walk me through this. I've never actually done this before.
First time dying?
Yes,
Like
yes,
that
indeed.
meme with Johnny Franco with the noose around his neck? First time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs. It's a wonderful movie.
Oh, that is an awesome movie.
I love that
Jake and I watched that. That was a good one.
It's very weird.
It was well done, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a classic.
Let's see. Who are we on now? Archivir, are your turn all done?
I think so, yeah. I'm not moving.
Okay. Up next is going to be Balcom.
Okay. I'm going to bonus action Healing Word.
Okay.
You heal for 6 damage, Elquin.
Oh, does that goes over death saves and all that
Yeah,
shit?
absolutely. Yeah, if you get healed before any of that occurs, then you're just back up on your feet.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that. Awesome. All right. 6 damage.
And I can't cast another spell, so I'm going to take out my mini mace. See what I can do against this ogre.
Nice.
Smack him.
That's a natural 20.
Ha!
Nice.
Nice. Damn, luck of the Kender.
Yeah.
5 damage total.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Those
right
goddamn-
on like their big toe.
Oh, yeah.
Those D&D Beyond devs are like actually like weighing the dice for the Kender have like luck, you know.
If you hit it really hard, but you're pretty short, so it's just the shin.
Yeah, you
What,
you literally smack the toenail off this ogre. Like just something on your mace catches on its toenail and it lets out just such a shriek. Like picks up its foot and is like hopping around for a second, like, I'll kill you. Let's see, Elquin, you are up next.
So when I died, did I fall off my horse, or did I just kind of slump over onto my horse?
I hadn't thought about that. You weren't really knocked prone or anything. I mean, I would assume that you would have fallen off the horse, but being that you got 6 points back, and stood back up, it's easy enough for you to just jump literally right back on the horse.
All right, fair enough. So then, what's the situation? I have 2 ogres and I have the 2 dragon things in front of me, and the ogre to the side still.
Yes, you have one draconian that has 1 hit point left. The ogre, which is pretty severely bloodied. I don't know if he's very bloodied or not. Probably he's right in that realm. I don't know what
All right.
59 divided by 4 is.
So
And then
I'm gonna use...
the other draconian is not damaged at all. The second guy here.
All right. So first off, I'm gonna attack the severely damaged one with my horse.
Okay.
So let me roll for that.
14 or higher kills him.
That would be a 17.
That kills him. All right.
All right, so he's dead. And then as a bonus action, I am going to cast Zephyr Strike. So that
Love that
basically,
one.
yeah. So I got that going on right now. So, and then I'm going to attack the other Draconian, which with my shillelagh covered quarterstaff. Does a 13 hit?
13 does not hit. Just barely misses.
All right, so then I'm going to use my movement under the cover of a Zephyr Strike to get away from anything that can attack me.
Okay. So you're heading kind of towards the wharf, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
All right. Does Zephyr Strike protect against opportunity attacks?
Yeah.
Okay.
You move like the wind until the spell ends. Your movement does not provoke opportunity
Okay,
attacks.
perfect. Excellent.
Sounds like an anime move. Zephyr Strike!
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, after that is going to be the other not injured draconian here. This guy's going to step right up to Balcom and take a swing. Take 2 swings. First one. That is a 16.
That misses.
Alright, and the second one is a 10. It's also a miss. Whiff and a whiff. Rue, it is your turn.
All right. She's gonna
All thanks to Ispin's shield that missed.
Nice.
she's gonna. Let me see. So in front of us, there's a. Yeah, can you just remind me what's in front of? Oh, it's right around us right now.
So you are kind of hovering around up here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where, but you have this guy right here is the commanding ogre of this particular force of draconians. Then you have one uninjured little short draconian, Boz draconian guy, and then you've got this thing over here with 2 guys still trying to refuel this and get it ready to fire, and 1 guy standing there trying to figure out Tasha's mind whip, and 1 dead dude. Does not look like they have prepped to fire again. They're like slapping the other guy around and trying to like get his attention. And
nice, cool. All right, she's gonna throw a magic missile at the I guess we'll say 1 at the mind whip guy and 1 at the other 2 at the ogre. Shit. So that's 2 damage to the 1 and 4 to the ogre.
Okay. So yeah, it does not have any visible effect on the guy. Like he's still there, just looking dazed. Like he clearly took damage, but it sort of just boffs him over a little bit, and he's just still standing there. The ogre takes 4, pushing him just a little bit closer to the brink of death. All right. Any other actions? Bonus actions?
No, she doesn't have any bonus actions. Malcolm, are you hurt? Nick? Did we lose Nick?
So on my screen it says 16 out of 27, but I don't know if that's accurate. I think so.
Okay. She'll just kind of like dive down and put her face in front of them. I mean, she'll come. I guess all I'll say is she'll land on the other side of them, try to just distract them and catch their attention.
The other side of the ogre, or the other side of the dragon machine thing?
The ogre and the
Okay.
draconian.
You're over here someplace. You're turning around. Alright. Let's see.
She tries to flick the ogre with her tail as she goes by, just to piss him off, piss her off.
Alright, and piss him off you did, because he spins around and takes a swing at you. Using his great club. He hits a dirty 20. Let's see. Hitting you for 2d8 plus 4 damage, a total of 13. Oof, that's a big hit.
Shit. I was hoping for a weaker attack so I could shield it.
That is, however, his only action. Her only action.
You said 13, right?
Yep, 13. It's super frustrating to me that for some reason, if I roll it on my phone, then it sends it to everyone. But if I roll it on the computer, it only sends it, like if I use the built-in D&D Beyond stuff, it only sends it to me as the DM. I don't understand why. It doesn't make any damn sense. There's probably a setting somewhere.
When you select your dice to roll, does it default to just you?
So literally what I'm doing is in the encounter builder, if I click on the guy, like if I click on the ogre guy, it brings up his stat block, and then just like on your stat block, you can click on the little like +4 plus whatever. So like if I have saving throws to make, I do it on there, or if I have attack rolls, it just says attack +6, I click the +6, but it sends it in the chat or in the game log just to me as the DM, and I'm like, why? Like that
maybe so that people don't see get the meta information of knowing their modifiers
if
and
I
stuff
need
like
to
that.
know, yeah, that's possible, I suppose, but it's fucking very strange to me. Like I guess it should just always be optional of send it to the whole group or just to myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should at least be able to control whether.
Yeah, like on the phone, I can just set it. I can just click on a thing and it says send to everyone or send to self, and that's fine.
Like they could make it show just the result without showing the modifiers.
Yeah, absolutely.
What actually created that? You could just say,
there's
"Oh, it was
so much
32," and you're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, there is so much that they could do to improve this website. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's a great website for what it is, but like, just as a player or as a DM, I get super frustrated at times with like the little things like that, where I'm like, that's an easy fix. That's just literally adding a button on the page. I could do that. I could physically do that. Like I could write the fucking HTML for it. I could use CSS, no problem, drop a button on the page and be like, there, you're done. It would take me all of 10 minutes. I mean, it would probably take me a lot longer than 10 minutes, but in my heyday, when I was doing this shit all the time, it would have taken me 10 minutes. Anyway, all right, end of rant. It's getting late, sorry. Who's up next here? It's going to be...
And that's a subscription service that's set to get worse, so...
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
You're
I don't
listening.
know. It's possible. Yeah, if they're planning on charging $30 a month, we'll be moving to a different platform for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with paying like $5 a month so that I can share stuff with you guys. I'm not okay with paying $30 a month and then you guys still have to each pay $30 a month. Fuck that.
Especially on a platform that's got a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I could write my own webpage better than this, like all I need is access to all the spreadsheets from their database of like all the monsters and shit. Pretty sure I could find that out there online too somewhere.
Well, I'm sure it'll be if that ever went into play, it would definitely be available.
Yeah.
Somebody would put it out there.
I probably already have it, to be honest. I probably already have most of that information stored on my computer. And it's just a matter of finding all of it. But, let's see. Who did we have last? Viewmaster. Archivir would be next.
All right.
Give those giant blue arms one more shot.
I'm just gonna use my standard turn, which is gonna allow me to use. Hold on, is that true still, or was that the other monastic tradition that I was looking at? There's one where if I can make an attack with an unarmed strike, I can use a bonus action to make another. But that may have been the Kensei weapon one. Yeah, I don't see that anywhere here. Well, let's try the hands out again. I'll just do the same thing I did last time. Well, that's gonna hit.
Oh
That
yeah,
one too.
that's a hit.
That is not. All right. So 2 big blue thwacks on that ogre dude there. Got 9 points of force damage.
Nice. All right, he is now very, very bloodied. Absolutely, no doubt in your mind. He's on the verge of death.
That's my bonus action too. Yippers. That's my turn.
All right, Balcom, you're up.
Okay. I'm gonna take a quick glance behind me to make sure we're not about to get firebombed by these things. These guys are still pouring stuff in.
Seems like they are still fucking around trying to get their teammate back on course. It seems like maybe it takes 3 of them minimum to make the attack with the thing. Because you've got one guy scrambling, still trying to do all 3 people's jobs, and then the other guy shaking the piss out of their fellow comrade there.
Okay. I'm gonna cast Guiding Bolt at the ogre in front of me.
Okay.
I can definitely do. There we go. 13.
That is a miss, just barely.
All right, and then I'm going to taunt the ogre here. Are you sure you're a woman?
Ah!
Oh, sorry. That's a DC 14 wisdom save.
Oh. Oh my.
I guess I should have said that before.
Save versus save for nothing, right?
Yeah. If they make it, then they can attack whoever they want. But if not, they get a disadvantage. They attack anyone but me.
Wisdom is not an ogre's strong suit, just so you're aware. Roll the dice, thank you. That is a 13. What was the DC on it?
14.
Okay, so yeah, she is now focused primarily on you. And of course, she's like all cut up, breathing heavy, beat to shit. Like, you think she might get one more swinging on you, but you're not sure. Let's see. That's your turn?
That's my turn.
Okay. Elquin, you're up.
How far away am I from the Dracones working on the mechanical dragon?
Many feet. Let's see. I don't have this set up to scale. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
Is it more than 120?
Nope. You're about 50 feet or so away from them.
Alright, so I am going. Do any of the one that has Tasha's mind whip, that one I assume had damage?
Yes, he's had damage already.
Do we know if he's like bloodied or anything?
It's kind of hard to tell from where you're standing. Like, you know, he's taken some damage, but not like even from Rue's attack, he didn't take much.
All right. Well, I'm gonna attack him still with my longbow, and with the Zephyr Strike, I get advantage on one attack and that I choose, and plus an extra 1d8 if I hit.
Okay.
Hell is my? Oh, there. Sorry, 1 second. Does a 16 hit?
16 does hit.
Okay, so then I did that's 11 damage.
Okay, and plus a d8, right?
Yep. That's a d8. That's another 4 damage, so that's 15 damage. And then as a is he still alive?
I think that kills him.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys had already been kind of flying around and dealing with shit, so they might have been a bit damaged already.
All right. As a bonus action, I am going to use Slayer's Prey to put a mark on the one that is trying to do all 3 jobs.
Okay.
Because you said I'm only 50 feet away, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I could do that to within 60 feet.
All right. And he is now marked. The other one that witnesses this guy that he's been slapping and shaking just get an arrow through the skull. He sort of drops him, turns back to working on the dragon with his friend, and then realizes that his friend is like kind of looks at him funny, like, "Hey, you're marked." I don't know why that's always just funny to me. You're marked. Let's see. This remaining Boz Draconian that's standing near Balcom is going to take a quick couple of swings at Balcom. That is a 12. That's a miss.
Yep.
And 17. Does that hit?
That's my AC.
Okay, just barely hits you. For 4 damage. Ha-cha-cha-cha. Alright, that's his turn. Rue, you're up.
All right. She's gonna cast. She's gonna win Magic Missile. Should I have enough sorcery points? Yeah. So she's gonna hit. Yeah, I guess how are. So the ogre's like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
And then there's a fully undamaged draconian over here.
Yep, and then 2 more undamaged draconians by the machine.
Okay. So she's gonna hit the ogre with 2 and the I'll say so yeah, 2 undamaged draconians on the machine, right?
Yep.
Okay, so one of them with 4 and the ogre with 2.
Okay.
That go. All right, so 8 damage to the ogre and 16 to the draconian.
Okay. So the ogre falls down dead.
Nice.
One last gasp comes out of his mouth. I'm a pretty woman. The draconian, seeing their commander fall down dead, is going to probably get freaked out. We'll find out in a second. You do 16 damage, you said, to the other one. That is going to kill him as well, as again. So these guys are maybe not full strength. Leaving 1 standing near the machine and 1 standing near you guys. And it is the one near the machine's turn next. Did you have anything else, Drew?
She's gonna launch herself into the air, and so we're like right by the the crab, right? She's gonna fly above
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's very much on fire though, like the whole thing is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's trying to just like get at, she's trying to not give them like a big target if they do get that thing working.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if there's like a building on the other side or something, but she's just trying to, get
somewhere
herself.
where she's out of shot.
Right.
Okay, so off somewheres.
But yeah, I guess like still staying within range of the draconian, or like trying to stay close to them.
Okay.
So what is on the other side, like under the scorch marks?
So you've got like all around here is just more of the buildings of Vogler and shit. Pretty much the entire town is set ablaze at this point.
Gotcha.
You're noticing now like there are other mercenaries and militiamen that are falling back to the wharfs, and they've actually like they're being pushed back to where essentially all around you is a crowd of these draconian things.
Okay. All right. I'll say she'll just basically fly straight up then, just to kind of get out of the range of the dragon thing, but they'll be able to see it and all that.
Okay. So the remaining guy standing by this machine kind of looks at his fallen comrades, looks over at the one that's standing near you guys, shrugs, and then reaches over and slams his hand down on a large red button before disappearing off into the fray, taking up arms against whoever he can find. The remaining mercenaries are now pouring into boats, and Derek runs up to you and says, "Okay, time to leave, time to leave!" And it is at this moment that you hear the engine of the dragon begin to rumble and sort of rattle, and the parts to this thing are now, like, you see bolts falling off from it, and let's see, let me count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, see the Boz Draconian. For some reason, I accidentally somehow renamed you guys all Elquin, so that's very confusing to me.
Can't see why.
So Balcom and Archivir, I believe, I have to look this up because it would not let me put it in as a creature because it is technically an artifact.
We all named ourselves Elkin when we fell.
It's like a Spartacus thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I am Spartacus.
Elquin is
In
very
remembrance of that time that you almost died.
The day we were all Elkin.
Oh, that's the
Elquin is touched.
Too many Elquins. So let's see.
Name is Elquin.
30-foot radius sphere. So it blows up. I need the two of you, Archivir and Balcom, to make a dexterity DC 15 saving throw, or take 5d10 fire damage.
Oh,
I
shit.
failed.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. There's got to be another cleric around here somewhere, right?
Sorry, was it dexterity?
Yeah.
Oh, I got 20.
Okay, so you are able to dodge out of the way. Balcom, however, you are not so lucky, nor is the other boss Draconian. He is fucking blown to bits. Balcom, you are flung many feet forward, where you are grabbed by several villagers and dragged into a boat. Darrett is ushering the rest of you into these boats to be able to make an escape. The villagers are able to tend to your wounds, Balcom, to allow you to have 1 hit point and be revived, as some of the villagers do have some sort of medical knowledge. As you all pile into the boats, you begin to float down river, you can see the Mayor Raven calling out to various boats, giving them orders, and you, hang on, I've got a text.
Was there room for my horse on a boat?
Yeah, that big-ass raft that's there,
Oh,
you
okay.
can totally just ride your horse right onto it. Those guys are fucking crazy good shipbuilders.
Nice.
Good. So we have some meat.
Running up the street, you do hear, hold the boat! And voice kind of raspy comes through the crowd of barreling out of these draconians that are all surrounding the various sides. And he dives and lands in the boat with you guys. And you recognize Jaya Veldruz, Cudgel's lieutenant. And he tells you, he's like, just talking with a scout. The battle at the pass did not go very well. It seems Cudgel has fallen. Becklin took the rest of the Ironclad Regiment east. They're being routed by the army. There's more. There's too many. I don't even know if Kalaman will be safe. And as you flee the Dragon Army's invasion of Vogler, you see the city in flames. Amid the columns of smoke rising from the village, the invaders loot whatever remains. The villagers traveling with you don't look away. They watch until their home is nothing more than a black-red smear along the river's edge. The evacuation boats carry all that remains of Vogler down the Vingard toward an uncertain sanctuary in Kalaman. And that is where we're going to leave it for tonight.
Better believe Ruination's throwing
Yeah, buddy.
fireballs at them until at least like 10 of them fall in the water, and she's like, fine, whatever. You're going to catch fire anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, that might have been a little bit rushed, but I was hoping to cram all of that last part of Chapter 3 in there. You guys have now successfully completed Chapter 3. And you may now all advance to 4th level, because apparently this is my speedrun campaign that I've been wanting to run all these times. Like, it's literally what the book says to do. I don't know if they just give these levels away early on to get you guys up to a level where you can fight bigger stuff or what, but man,
Oh,
these
nice. I got Snowfall.
milestones are definitely coming right along.
Cool. I'll mess around with that after we're done.
It's way easier doing milestone leveling in an actual campaign book and not one that I'm bullshitting my way through. This is way better. Because it just tells me when to give you guys levels. They're
Nice.
they're way nicer than I am. I'm like, it's been like 4 or 5 sessions, maybe give them another level. These guys are like every session you just gain another one. Like, holy crap.
Well, I'm sure as we get higher in level 2, they'll...
It probably slows up, yeah, I would assume so. There tends to be like a curve, you know? Like even in old D&D, like, Nick, you remember 2nd edition? Where it was like, oh, your first level is like 1,000, your second level is like 1,500, your third level is like 3,000 experience, and then it just keeps doubling every time. Like
Exponential.
by like level 10, you have to get like 180,000 experience, and you're like, that's like fucking 250,000 goblins, assholes.
You can
That's better than any
cut a
RPG,
horde
though.
of 50,000. Sorry, were-rats.
That's 17 elder dragons.
Yeah. Part of that though was that in AD&D, gold counted towards your experience, so every bit of treasure had a gold value to it. And every bit of that gold value, 1 gold was 1 experience point. So the levels
that would add up.
That's one of the reasons that 2nd edition was like infamous for having murder hobos. Was because like you were like, well, I get more gold if I kill the guy than if I help him, so fuck this NPC. And it made sense, you know, that's why you had a lot of like chaotic neutral adventuring
It's
parties.
like the Morrowind problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's no reason I'm not going to be a criminal through this entire
the
thing.
entire
and
game.
Just kill everybody and just take their shit.
The very first section of that game where you get let into the guy's shop, I was like trying to pick the locks in the fucking room where you're building your character.
You find the first corner, you can try to like sneak in and
you
that
literally
sneak level as high as you can.
Yep.
Just farm the sneak level.
There were so many good fudges to that game. That had to be at the time. I think
especially on console.
Morrowind was the closest thing to D&D that had ever been in a video game. I think, like it was the closest.
Did you know about the enchanted weapons glitches on the original edition of Morrowind on console?
There was
like the bound weapon thing. You could enchant something. You could put any kind of enchantment and just spam it, and it would just shoot your stats permanently up into the thousands or something.
There was the same thing with like alchemy. You could go in the first town, Balmora. You could go. And you could use alchemy because one of the master trainers was there. So you could there was a glitch on, you could use your alchemy and then do 2 minor skill points at the same time. And so every single level you could gain like 30 skill points or something. Like the way it worked out. You could level up to like level 100 without doing a single fucking quest other than just training alchemy. Like it was
Crazy.
stupid. Like you could get your character so OP before
Totally.
you went on any quests, and then you just ran through the game. Like, oh, I'm gonna kill everything in my path now. I remember doing that for a single session and going to like the fucking what was like the Mount Doom thing or whatever it was, like the volcano.
Yeah.
I like just ran up the side of the volcano and didn't die because I had my level so
Yep.
high. Like, oh, okay, I'll
Yep.
just run up here and I'll just jump in and see if I can kill this fucking asshole.
That's exactly what I did
Turns
with
out-
with the hammer, right?
Yeah, but well, it turns out if you don't get the 2 magic weapons, you can't kill the guy. So I didn't know this. I was just fucking kind of winging it. So I'm like in there, I'm beating the shit out of this guy for like an hour and a half, and finally I'm like, did I kill him? I knocked him off the cliff. Turns out I had knocked the big bad guy off the cliff down into like the lava pit, but he still wasn't dead, and I just left. I'm like, well, I guess I killed him, but it didn't say that I killed him. So I'm wandering around doing the rest of the game, thinking that I beat the game already. And then like somebody told me about the fucking 2 weapons you had to have to kill the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, so I went and got those, went back, had to look for the guy. He was all the way down at the bottom. I had to run
This
all the
is
way to like the
amazing.
very bottom of the fucking volcano, inside of it, to kill the guy.
That's perfect.
It was after like a year of playing that I found this out. I'm like, what the hell do you mean I didn't kill him?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that game was amazing. Like it was so
Never have
cool.
a rain prophecy.
Yep.
And I started Morrowind because I ended up getting it after the fact, after playing Skyrim for a couple of years, but I just
It's-
never
it's
really got into it after
hard
playing
to
Skyrim for
play
so long.
after Skyrim, it's hard to go backwards to a game like that.
Yeah.
Because Morrowind has
Exactly.
very obvious flaws to it as a
Yeah.
game, but like just the scope of it was so big. I mean, like Skyrim is
Especially
the
for its
same way.
time.
Yeah, like Skyrim is definitely the
Skyrim's
same way.
bigger, but it doesn't feel bigger like in the way that Morrowind did at the time.
Yeah, because for,
Yeah.
And
for
it's-
its time when it was released, nothing compared.
Just
to
didn't
that
have the
game.
hardware capacity to get as big as that.
Yeah.
But that whole, like, the books that are amazing. Like, I think I read almost all of them in Morrowind, and like it's just great to collect all of them, and just yeah, that whole Naravarine prophecy thing is pretty fun.
Yeah, like it's definitely a it's one of those epic adventures. It like spans literal centuries and continents and stuff. And then all the expansions are really good for it too. Like I haven't played any of the Elder Scrolls Online, but I imagine that it
Yeah,
basically
me
is just Morrowind with all the parts put together, like the whole,
Yeah, and they introduce different, things each season and stuff.
It's one that I always kind of looked at getting into, but any MMO I have the same problem with. It's too much of a time sink for me.
Mhm.
And they're all World of Warcraft to me. You know what I mean? Like I played World
Totally.
of Warcraft during like season 2 and was like, oh, this game's awesome. And then like stuff happened. I like got married and shit back then. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't play this anymore because I just
Yeah.
have like a normal life now and I don't play video games. But yeah, every MMO has always just felt like World of Warcraft to me. Like every time that you try and pick up a new one, I'm like Neverwinter for D&D is the newest MMO for D&D, or like Dungeons and Dragons Online. It's they're very comparable games, but they're both just pretty much fucking Warhammer. They're fetch or World of Warcraft. They're fetch quests and kill the thing quests and any type of quest you can easily program into a computer game.
I actually downloaded one of the Neverwinters from what was it? Frickin' from Steam, and it was glitchy.
Some of them are like Neverwinter Nights is an older game that came out. The new one, Neverwinter, is more of like Neverwinter is pretty much set in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaigns.
Yeah.
But it's all built on 4th edition mechanics because 4th edition pretty much was a video game. Like it got a lot of heat being a tabletop role-playing game for the way they designed it to play like an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was more designed to be a tactical miniatures game than it was a sort of theater of the mind game. Like, and a lot of people were put off by that. But I think, honestly, I think Wizards of the Coast was just kind of, they put it out ahead of its time. I think if they had put out 4th edition 10 years later, then people would have fucking gone nuts for it because MMOs already would have taken hold a little bit more. Like, they were trying to stay ahead of that curve and be like, well, we can be like a video game too. And people were like, that's not why we fucking play D&D.
I played Neverwinter Nights way back in the day in the early
Yeah.
seasons, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
But
and it
I
really
actually I downloaded one recently. It was just glitchy as fuck.
yeah. There's other ones too, like Neverwinter Nights. Like the older Baldur's Gate games are like that. Like they were so much fun when they came out, but playing them now, it's like it's sort of cringy. It's like, oh man, I remember this being so good, and it's so hard to play now because I'm so used to modern game mechanics being intuitive, and like they're not. They're generally they have kind of a high learning curve for a video game on some of those things.
Mm. Actually,
love all the
purchased. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I love all the old DOS like Wing Commander games, and I got like a DOS emulator and played them, and holy shit, like they're not, you can't play those.
Oh, they're brutal. It's so brutal to play any of those games, especially on
there's like literally no physics or anything. It's just like, well, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, you just have to rely on pure video game intuition. And you know what? Sometimes it's fun to challenge yourself on games like that, and other times you just want to kind of zone out and play a video game and not have to think too much about the fact you are playing a video game.
Right.
Like I have that a lot. That's one of the reasons I've taken up on all these idle games. Like where like you don't really do much. You're just clicking a spreadsheet basically every so often, but I get to watch the points go up and it fills up my levels of endorphins. I'm like, "Oh, reward time. Yay." And sometimes that's all that's required of a video game. Like I switch back and forth between a game like Gloomhaven where I'm just constantly dying every fucking level about 30 times before I figure out how to beat it. And then I go and I play Farmer Against Potatoes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm kicking hundreds of potatoes' asses. Perfect.
I've been getting competitive in Apex Legends lately.
Yeah, I mean, that's another battle royale, right? Like a Fortnite.
It's a very, very sweaty battle royale.
Is it?
Yeah, that my brother has played, like literally has never missed a challenge since the game came out.
Wow.
And he got me into it. And I'm starting to get a little bit sweaty at it myself.
I remember downloading it when it first came out, and I went, yep, it's Fortnite. But then Fortnite got crappy because they changed to the Gears of War engine. They literally switched game engines after several seasons, and I hate the way it feels now, so I don't play it anymore.
Gotcha.
And like
Jake actually just started getting into playing Fortnite. He likes it. It looks fun.
It's fun, but it's one of those games where like it's gone through so many iterations, and there were certain things about it that I loved that they took away. Like for a while they took away building, and I took forever to get good at building, and then they changed it and took it away, and I'm like, well, I kind of don't like the fucking game anymore. Like, why would you do it? And then they were like, oh, it's a limited time mode. Yeah, and there was other stuff.
Actually,
Isn't
now
that
you
why
have
it was
the
called
option.
Fortnite? Because you were like building a fort when it was
Yeah.
like kind of the joke. Yeah.
Well, they have
My
it set
10-year-old
up
son's
now.
very
You
into
have the
Fortnite now.
option to either play with building or without building.
Yeah. And then there was other stuff about it too that I loved that like, I mean, and I get it's a seasonal online game, so there's going to be changes. And that's fine, but when I almost can't recognize the game from the time I started playing it to now, it's like, well, I guess it's time to find a new game, you know? Like I know hardcore like PUBG addicts, people that have played PUBG since it came out, and they're like sold on it because it doesn't ever get updated, because it doesn't ever really change that much. It's just the same game.
Yeah,
people who play
I got some friends that are stuck on that one for sure.
You know, like stuff like Team Fortress or Red Faction or any of the older shooter games that still have a life. Like, there's still Quake players out there, for Christ's sakes. It's scary.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like Quake is a online VR following now because people.
I remember Quake.
Yeah, Quake
That's
what the hell's the
way
other
back.
I just uninstalled Quake today.
Doom?
I forgot that I put it on.
Yeah, Doom is another one that's come out on VR that people are like all about now.
Nice. Oh yeah, I know that. I remember hearing or reading that they remastered Doom.
Well, this isn't even like this is like
They never really stopped making Doom.
Yeah,
games.
they always made Doom games, but
Yeah.
like this is the original like old school Doom, but in VR. So you literally like the enemies are always facing you because they're basically cardboard cutouts that you're shooting at. And that's
How do you not just projectile vomit constantly?
It's so
playing
fucking
that game
hard.
in VR?
It's lots of vignetting, so you basically reduce your field of view down to about 30% of what it would normally be.
Okay.
And 2, don't fucking move too fast.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, yeah, the first time I played it, by the time I played for about 15-20 minutes, and when I took the headset off, I had to sit down and put an ice pack on my forehead.
What's
like-
the frame rate? Like, that's the weird thing, because those games, like the animations are just like, I don't even know what
So,
frame
like,
rate is capable of.
Here's the thing. I think what they did was they actually built like a separate like 3D environment that consisted, like I say, basically of like cardboard cutout figures that move towards you.
Right.
But that
So it has a
itself-
regular game, like a modern game engine that's
Yeah,
emulating the
it's-
shittiness of like an old game engine.
Yeah, it's really bizarre to experience because
Huh.
you like, and the jump scares and shit in it, when like a thing comes out from around the corner, it's coming out
Yeah.
smoothly, but it still looks like shit. It looks like a shitty pixel creature attacking you.
Weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. There's another game too for VR that was really interesting that kind of had the same effect on me, called Ancient Dungeon. It might even be called Ancient VR Dungeon. So picture Minecraft, but only from a first-person perspective, and there's some crazy ass like zombies and ogres and shit in this dungeon. It's a lot of fun, but like, let's say you fall down a pit. It looks like you're falling down a pit, and it's really scary, and sometimes you yell real loud when it happens. Like, some monster comes out from around the corner and just literally kills you, and you're like, ah, fuck! Like, it's scary.
Dang.
Like, I wish
I haven't
much...
experienced VR yet.
Oh, it's...
Speaking of zombies and jump scares, before it gets too late, I'm going to try to catch the new Last of Us. So,
Oh, yeah, no
all
doubt.
the night, guys.
Yeah,
Good night.
absolutely.
Yeah, great session. I'll catch you guys next
we'll
time.
see you guys hopefully this upcoming Sunday.
Sounds good. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, no doubt.
Night, guys.
Have a good
Night.
one, Jen.
All right, see y'all.
Later. And good night to you, sweet internet princes, wherever you may be. I'm just kidding. Go fuck yourselves. You never watch this long. I know you don't. If you do, go fuck yourself anyway. Or don't. Either way. I'll see you guys next Sunday.